Hey.
In the spirit of honesty, I just want to say something. I know I'm going to read some BetMGM ads today, but you can lose a lot of money gambling. Like
it is the season of giving, Chris.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it doesn't mean that you just win all the time. I want you to know that. Now the locks were good.
Locks were solid,
but the Bucks absolutely murdered me last night.
And
just curb stomped me. I was like, "Help, Baker! Help me, please!"
Well,
and he just his little size 8 shoe, boom, right in the jaw. Fucking hey, the Cowboys found out. I'm just going right in. The Cowboys found out that they got to the stadium, boop, boop, locked the car, walked in the locker room, like, oh shit, we're fucking eliminated from the playoffs. Let's go play the game of our lives.
Literally.
I didn't know the star meant anything. No, I'm serious. I want to be serious for a second, and we're going to talk about a lot of football today, but just wanted to start here. The Dallas Cowboys should be commended. I don't do that a lot on this show.
Big time.
But they played their asses off. You would have thought last night the Dallas Cowboys were playing for a Super Bowl. That was unbelievable.
Hard as hell. They were smacking dudes. There was like a lot of big hits in that game, too.
Yeah, dude.
See that shot that Mike Evans took on that one little hospital ball that Baker threw him?
Yep. Absolutely.
And
the fact that Evans even got up, like, it just shows you he's made of concrete. But, like,
tough boy.
Jordan Lewis, he's the one who competed for that pick at the end of the game. I really do like that guy a lot.
Yeah.
He's an absolute dog. They got a couple guys in the secondary there who can really play. But just the theme of the game for me was just Dallas wanted it more and they were more ready to play. And you would have thought, like, conventional wisdom says, hey, team that just finds out they're eliminated versus a team that who absolutely needs this game. And the team that absolutely needed the game, from the first Shepard drop on 4th down, it felt like somebody was playing with a fucking Ouija board in that locker room. Seriously.
Yeah.
And maybe that's just being on the other side of a game where you're laying 4 and spend the entirety of the game chasing the Cowboys and Cooper Rush. But it felt like one of those games where the universe was aligned to not let the Bucks win the game.
Mm-hmm. Every
Especially
play.
At the very end, man, the way those balls were getting just taken away from the Bucks players was wild. Well, dude, we had a couple weeks ago on the pod, we had someone in the chat say that we need to give a drunkest game award out. I feel like Sunday Night Football last night, like that's got to be the drunkest game.
That was pretty
drunk game.
Hey, I like your like sexy Beau voice. You know,
dude,
your sultry voice.
Yeah, I've been smoking like a pack a day. That sounds
what it is. Is that what it is?
Back home ripping darts in my parents'
Marlboros.
Are you back home? You are back home, huh?
Yeah, I'm back in Minnesota.
Man, you always pod really well when you're in Minnesota. I can't wait.
Minnesota.
Thanks, baby. I'm ready for a good one.
First off, happy birthday to my brother Howie.
Happy birthday, Howie.
Howie, happy birthday. My favorite long.
He's probably late logging in. You probably missed it, Howie, but happy birthday, dude. One time I was at the Boise, Idaho Bowl and forgot it was his birthday because it's so close to Christmas. It's almost unfair.
Yeah,
the dates really get kind of jumbled up.
The people with Christmas birthdays are just selfish.
Yeah.
Very selfish.
He shouldn't have done that.
You shouldn't have done that. And I caught a lot of shit for forgetting to call you that year, and I just went full circle. How many years ago was that? Boise Bowl, 2005. We're talking, I'm still thinking about this 20 years later, and I feel bad about it. I'm sorry. So hopefully this makes it up to you.
We don't get to choose what month we're born in.
Speaking for all the SAGs.
Yeah. It's not our fault that our fathers
people get busy in the springtime.
No, it's typical. It's probably around Valentine's Day.
You think it's Valentine's
Day? Funny you say that.
Yes.
My birthday is 9 months to the day from Valentine's Day.
No way.
I'm a love child.
But I don't want to smash your theory. It's kind of crazy. It's just that the whole birthing period, it's really 10 months. They say it's not.
Birthing period.
It is. like when my girl went through her pregnancy, it was 10 months. It's not 9 months.
Well, it only took around 4 months
Dr.
to birth
Facts.
Michael Penix Jr. as a starting NFL quarterback. It was 4 months of gestation, and now we've got Michael Penix. He just popped out and was making big throws yesterday against the New York Giants.
That lefty ball looked nice.
Man, he looks pretty good. We'll get to that in a minute. I'm just trying to log on to YouTube.com. YouTube.com is not responding to me because I'd love to be able to talk to the chat. But you know what?
The chat is with me. They know about the 10 months.
The 10 months?
Yeah, we got parents in the chat.
And Matt Ross says
Covered
that Beau's vocal cords are on the grill.
Yeah, they are. He put his vocal cords
They're
on.
absolutely cooked.
He probably was. I know he's a lot of truth is said in jest. He says he had been smoking a lot of darts. He probably has been out at all the young people bars in Minnesota.
Well, I did get a nice little text from my old pal C Long. What was it, Saturday?
Yeah.
Little cozy video of him posted up next to a nice indoor fireplace, some dirt floors with peanut shells all over them. Hand off to a great little dive bar atmosphere, some neon signs over at Dirty Nelly's. Chris, I love seeing that out here.
Hey, early Bevel Conway, Dirty Nelly's, probably my favorite bar in Charlottesville, I'd have to say.
We got to do a live pod from Dirty Nelly's sometime.
Oh, I'd love to. I'd love to.
That'd be awesome.
It's just a great spot, and I was hoping you'd remember where that was. That's why I sent it to you. I sent it to AJ Feely, who's been there, and he was like, "Nice." I was like, "Yeah, you've been here. You said you loved it."
I think you could spend more time there if I'm being honest with you, Chris. I think you should just every day
up there. No, I agree. It's probably I'd love to go there after this show. So let's get this show on the road. But again, we're talking about Sunday Night Football to start. I think, the Cowboys showing a lot of heart. Like, that can be a last day of school kind of feeling thing. When you're always going to play hard. You have to. But for the team to play mentally sharp and together, it's pretty damn impressive. And I know Mike McCarthy has felt like it kind of feels like year to year, the years run together, him hanging on by a thread, like at different points where we're like, yep, surely this is it. But somebody pointed something out last night on the broadcast. Jerry's a little bit more loyal than people, realize. The quarterback stuff, how long he stuck with Romo, how long he stuck with Dak, and some of the coaching decisions, you never know. Mm-hmm. Maybe this guy's going to be around.
He's been defending McCarthy. He's been defending the head coach a lot. And what was he? They were 12-5 previous 2 seasons, not including this season. And you said it earlier, man. The Cowboys looked like they were playing real hard. They weren't logging into their travel apps, checking out their flights to Mykonos quite yet. They were ready to go, man, and they look pretty good. Cooper Rush looked good. I saw something on Reddit I thought was funny. It was like, it's always fun to log into our Cowboys or our Eagles or whatever. After
I do it every week to see, just check the temp.
It's so reactionary, and everyone was like, yeah, should Cooper Rush be our starting quarterback? So I think we should start pushing that on the pod. I think there's going to be a QB competition in Dallas next season.
I don't want to go that far, but I can tell that over the years watching him play, they know how to win with him. In a lot of ways, they play kind of under control, and that's what shocked me about this game was it felt like, and you want to talk about a game script, jumping out 10-0 on these guys, thinking, hey, Rico Dowdle's been going off on the ground. They didn't even try. They were like, hey, the quick game's going to be the run game, and we're going to take shots at McCollum outside, and we're just gonna live through the air. And for him to out-explosive Baker Mayfield and the Bucs offense, pretty damn impressive. And, I'll just say this, CeeDee Lamb doesn't have to be out there. He doesn't have to, and I'm an Eagles fan, all that stuff. I don't hate the Cowboys as much as people think I hate the Cowboys. I spent most of my career in St. Louis, so they were nothing special to me. They were a ghost of the Jimmy Johnson era Cowboys. And then I end up in the NFC East, and they're always a little inconvenient and annoying, and just the amount of time that the media nationally talks about them. Eventually you get tired of it. But they're kind of a fun thing to poke fun at. I'm not going to poke fun at the Cowboys. I want to give them some props for everything I just said, but for CeeDee Lamb, who's the best player on the offense, and quite honestly at times looks unguardable, throughout the season, he doesn't have to be out there. He's got a fucked up shoulder. He catches a bomb in the first half, goes down on the shoulder, and I'm saying to myself as somebody who's on the Bucs, well, surely he needs to take a rest. Let's just take a wrong. He's back in there 2 plays later, breaks 3 tackles, gets in the end zone for a touchdown. So, tip of the cap to him for playing for nothing. Look around the league, games like Jacksonville, Vegas, and I talk about this a lot. The Jets in Jacksonville keeps popping up in these examples. But when teams have nothing to play for, you see it league-wide, there's guys playing their asses off. And CeeDee Lamb is not immune to wanting to play for the name on the back of his jersey and possibly the logo on the side of the helmet. That felt like that was a thing yesterday. It felt like they kind of circled the wagons a little bit. And I also think the plays on defense, I mentioned Jordan Lewis, like Golston running over Wirfs, like they just were coming with it. And in a situation like that, it makes you wonder, having Bland out on the field, and, I know you're missing Kendricks and you're missing Trayvon Diggs, but and Overshown, who looked like the next big thing there, and now we're talking about maybe his viability in his young career because of the extent of the injury. The Zimmer defense maybe takes a second to get a hang of in general, and the string of performances that we're seeing out of them has to make you feel good about that group coming in next year. The one thing I thought they'd be good at this year was defense. I thought they'd play well defensively. I was shocked at how low the floor was for the whole group, but just really, really disheartening for Todd Bowles and the Bucs. Really disheartening. There were bad snaps,
especially
there were drops. Defensively, they really miss Winfield. When he's not on the field, he looks different. No matter how well or how okay he's playing, it just when he's not on the field, you could just tell. They were at the 25 at one point and ended up with 4th and 40 offensively. Talk about the middle 8. They go down and score in a minute before the half, and then they give up 2 chunks and a field goal, just like that. And so, they got nobody to handle the slant to Cooks that gives, gets Aubrey in range. They got Diaby popping out. He's mugged up. They got him popping out to get in the slant window. I just didn't like their defensive approach, and they missed tackles. They had a legitimate chance to win the game at the end, but the Cowboys just wanted it more. They just wanted it more.
I can't believe you ain't talking about my boy yet. My game ball's going to
what person?
Brandon Aubrey.
Oh, Aubrey's an automatic. It's annoying.
258 yarders.
No, I know. And you don't even think about it. You're just like, here they go. 3 more. Tack it on.
Ended up being huge in that game, too.
Huge. Big time. Big time.
He had 3 kicks over 50.
2 over 54 total.
How old is he? Because he's in his 2nd year, right?
I mean, he's 24 maybe.
Dang,
it's crazy.
He's the one dating the cheerleader too, right?
He's dating a cheerleader from another team.
No, I think
no, that's someone else. Right?
That's what. Yeah, he was
someone. There's a
a guy for the
cheerleaders dating someone from
on the
Bengals.
Yeah,
McPherson, their kicker.
Yeah,
he's dating a cheerleader.
No.
He's dating the Cowboys cheerleader.
Yeah, I think we're all mixed up, but I think it's somewhere in there.
In there somewhere.
It's in there. Which the rule is you can't date a cheerleader on your team.
Yeah, fraternizing.
But I suppose you could date cheerleaders elsewhere.
Cade York,
which makes things a little bit complicated
if
when your boo-thangs lining up to try to kick a field goal in your stadium, and you got to
yeah.
But I thought the funniest part of the game, probably the thing that I had the most fun watching, because that game wasn't very fun, was Vita Vea throwing Turpin on the ground. Like, are you kidding me with this normal-sized human being? Get him out of here.
I was just
he
happy.
Smoked Fergie, too.
Yeah.
Oh, bro, Ferguson.
I was just happy he threw him. I was just happy he threw him instead of opting to
body slam him,
like belly flop on him. I was like,
pretty nice.
Yes, I was like, if anyone's watching and they get mad at the way he threw him down, I was like the opposite of what he could have done.
Yeah,
I was just like, that would probably have been.
You know when you see a viral video of a big man just beating up like 6 people outside a gas station? It's kind of like that. It really is. You know, it's just
best-
like the inconvenience of like, oh, another one. Let me throw him on the ground.
This is what else I wanted to say about this game. We were gonna do an exercise where we built our own coach the other day,
Oh, we never did that.
and we never did it.
Can we do it today? Can we just do it now? Can you,
Well,
Just physical attributes.
maybe you
or
can
is
explain
it-
it
is
with
it-
your yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so what I was gonna say, one of my attributes I was gonna put in was Mike McCarthy's ability to convince owners to keep him around, also to have his guys play
Yeah.
when it means nothing.
Yes.
And he does that a lot.
So that's a lot to write on the graphic. So we've been seeing
Just
a lot of
intangibles.
these. We've been building
McCarthy's intangibles.
his intangibles, McCarthy's intangibles.
Yeah.
And we're not done building this coach. This is going to be a process through the rest of the season. I want to really I've noticed other podcasts and content machines, they love to put out these kind of, and they're so funny, the build the perfect receiver or build the perfect edge rusher, because it's always a shitty it's always like a shitty cut and paste thing where it's all of a sudden like the guy looks totally fucked up. I don't even think the guy could run if you put him together that way. But there's always it's Calvin Johnson's hands, and then it's like Calvin Johnson's legs, but then it's Jamar Chase's ability to I don't know, somebody's route running. With coaches, we tried our hand at it. This is mine. Can you enhance? Enhance. So I've got Josh McCown's lettuce. So I need him to have really good hair. I like the Belichick. I don't even know what to call that headband thing. It's like a
Winter headband.
It's a winter headband. Not a lot of people wear that.
No.
Other than Coach, one of a kind. And then here's an important one. I need Sirianni's eyes. And I need Sirianni's eyes because I need my coach to be totally fucking exhausted. If my coach looks like he's sleeping at all throughout the week, that's going to be a problem. You're not doing everything humanly possible. You're not stressed out enough. I need Nick Sirianni's eyes. Okay. I need Andy Reid's play sheet. And I kind of stopped at Dan Campbell's torso. I got Jim Harbaugh's khakis. Now I'm going to keep working through this deal and build the perfect coach. You in the chat are welcome to suggest attributes of the perfect coach. Let's look at Nate's perfect coach.
I definitely would have had.
You don't have a picture yet, Bo.
I don't know if I have one.
Nate doesn't have
I don't
Nate
have
doesn't
one
a
either.
picture. Okay, well, we'll work on you guys' perfect coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Andy Reid's. I like his media presence because that's what's always so funny to me. I'm so sick of the fumble Rooski.
Boy.
Commercial.
Like a 6-year-old who is
It
not.
looks like he's having so much fun when he's doing that, and sometimes I'm just like, Andy Reid is probably the most decorated coach in the NFL right now for a reason. He's going for a three-peat, all these things, and he goes out and films these dumbass commercials, and just seems like he's having such a good time with it. And I respect that. It's for no reason.
He is having a good time. At some point in your career, you realize that you can, and who's going to get you in trouble? You're Andy Reid, and your team's pretty good. You're probably not going to end up being oh shit, we did that commercial like Baker when he had the Living in the Stadium commercial, and then he's playing through all these shitty.
Or Will Levis with the Mayo commercials where he got his ass benched.
Will Levis, what's wrong with your face, Reed?
Nothing. I was about to say something.
You were in
but I don't
deep
wanna-
thought right there. That was wild. Did you see that? Mm-hmm. Do you have a camera on him? Later in the show, if you get a freeze frame with a panic that
maybe
just came over
there's
his
a
face.
reverse commercial curse with coaches like Andy Reid doing great with those commercials.
Yeah.
Dan Campbell and Applebee's.
Oh yeah,
They're getting close to a 1 seed.
That's
That
right.
could be a little bit of a hack.
Can you think of a coach that had a commercial and then
Yeah.
did a shitty job? And I'm not talking about local TV at all. All right, so we're talking about build a perfect coach. We'll get you build a coach.
Mike McDaniel's fashion. He be wearing off-white on the sideline.
I don't like that.
I don't like that either.
I don't like
That's
bro.
hate.
Okay, well,
Okay, you guys have your own
It's not.
coach.
What
Hey,
don't
you
you
gotta
like?
let us get
What
into
don't
it
you
and
like?
tell
Is
you
there,
why
is there
we don't
anything
like
you
it
don't
before you
like
just-
in the universe?
Also, what's the Mendoza line on the joggers? He pulls those up pretty high.
I feel like if you're the head coach, like you can wear what the fuck you want.
Especially in Miami. Now, if you were in Green Bay dressing like that or some other like blue collar city.
No, I think if you're in Green Bay, you got to have the Montclair on. A nice green, obnoxious Montclair on the sideline with a yellow hat.
Jordan Phillips had a full parka on under his jersey and freaking warm up. I thought it was like AI.
That's how I used to like go out to practice in high school. Like when it got cold, like right now.
Should I go out to practice in New England like that?
But like, would they let you practice with that on?
Bill was super cool about
didn't give
dress
a shit about
code.
practice.
Word.
He just wanted you to be in your gap.
Okay. Yep. As long as you're in your gap, I don't care.
And that's the kind of coach I like.
I like that too.
The raggediest sweatshirt on. The sweatshirt they gave him when he first signed in New England.
Totally.
With like 15 different holes in it. And guys, I remember my first day in New England showing up. Guys were wearing whatever at practice, and I was stunned because I was like, this does not seem like the Patriots.
Wait,
way.
I
Like,
thought there were a ton of rules. Yeah, the rule is be in your gap.
Do your job.
Do your
Do your job.
Generally.
Your job.
Generally. That, and we're going to stay in meetings until the last minute humanly possible. Like everybody.
Alec Cole in the chat asked what coach could bring back wearing a full suit on the sideline. What coach could pull it off?
I want to see Dan Campbell in like one of those 90s basketball draft suits. You know, like that's for sure the suit that Dan Campbell has.
It's McCarthy.
He hasn't worn a suit in years.
McCarthy, he's got big suit energy.
I think it's
Sean McVay.
what's
He's
his
got
name?
He does
The Texans coach.
D'Amico Ryans.
I feel like he could put on like a GQ suit, and
like
be
a banquet
fucking
suit
cool.
circa 2004. You know, we were talking about commercials. The Fumblerooski thing, I know y'all don't like it, but it is effective. We were talking about this. Maybe the key to commercials is getting your kids to repeat everything they hear. Like my kids walk around the house, I told you, singing about lowering their A1C.
Just lower my A1C.
I had to explain to my son that he can't go to school singing about diabetes.
Get your daily Jardians. And just
A little pill with a big story to tell. They know the whole thing. I'll walk in the house and my 6-year-old's going, oh, Ozempic. So
that
I
is
think,
funny.
Like, honestly, the way, and then eventually you're like, you know, your kids are saying it and they're saying it and they're saying it. And you're like, man, maybe I need some Ozempic.
Yeah, right.
You know, maybe
That's
not
how ad
Ozempic.
agencies work. Yeah, they market
To
for
kids.
the young ones.
Yeah. Maybe the political ad agencies could chill the fuck out.
Yeah.
I told you the story about the I'm not going politics here, but there was a political ad and they were talking about abortion. And I walk upstairs to my wife having to explain the topic to my child because of the political ad during Monday Night Football. And she walks out and I got to tuck my son in and she's looking at me like I just had to explain, like, good luck. Here you go. I walk in and he's sitting there on his belly with his hands under his chin like this. And I'm sitting on the bed. I'm just waiting for the question. And he's like, hey, Dad, I got a question. I said, what's that? He goes, should I start Tyreek Hill this week? And I'm like, thank
Or should
God.
I abort it?
No. I'm like, it wasn't Tyreek because he knows to start Tyreek. It was somebody else. It was like, Jake Ferguson. But commercials got to chill out. Okay, so Sunday Night Football. What that means is that the Bucks have to play their little hearts out the next 2 weeks and hope. Really, they have to hope that Atlanta goes to Washington and loses. Yeah,
They're going to be the biggest Commanders fans this weekend.
huge Commanders fans.
Big time.
Yeah, the Falcons, if they win this week and the Bucks lose to the Panthers, they clinch the South. So
Now, both teams winning out, you're still going to get the Falcons, yeah?
Yeah.
It's the tie break.
Yep.
And that's the one thing Kirk did. If they get in the playoffs, Kirk's performances against the Bucks this year are huge.
Mm-hmm.
I think watching them play, okay, the first play of the first throw of the game, not only does Penix rip the ball outside the numbers on a comeback, but he's on the move. And Kirk Cousins was outside the pocket 4% of the time.
Yep.
In his starts this year. So number one, you see the velocity, check. The velocity is there, something we didn't have. He's working the middle of the field throughout the whole game, and he's moving in the pocket. They're 37% pistol formation so far this year.
Yep.
They're up to 50-something% yesterday.
Yeah, 54.
So the way that they run their offense is going to be different. I also think, like, if you go back to the first throw of the second quarter, it's 30 yards outside the numbers on a rope to Mooney over an underneath defender.
Mm-hmm.
The velocity on the ball coming off this kid's hands, and the fact that he is older, and some of y'all got real, I said Bo Nix is older, and, a lot of Denver fans were like, can we stop it with this narrative? He's only like a year older than Jayden Daniels or something. We're talking about age and experience. The guy's been in college forever. Same thing with Penix on both fronts. He's actually older, and he's been in college a long time. I think neck up, especially with the way they've onboarded him, whether that was on purpose or not, he's going to be more ready than most rookie quarterbacks. But I will say, I know it was the Giants. He looks like a pro quarterback. Mm-hmm. And, all that extra work getting on the same page with Penix, not only because he is a new quarterback walking in with the ones, evidently was not taking a lot of one reps leading up. This wasn't a thing they were building towards. He's also a lefty. And so that's a thing that all the receivers have to focus on. The ball's going to come off his hands a little different. I think there were some drops early that were directly a result of a different ball coming off his hands than the one that was coming off Kirk's. And as a lineman, not for nothing, right ends are not used to playing the boot and rollouts as much as they're going to have to play against him. So it's a nice little wrinkle being a lefty. It can be a pain in the ass for a receiver getting on the same page, but he looks strong in the pocket. There was at one point New York had a free runner. The guy is a backer. He's draped on his back. Penix finds a way to get the ball off. 14 pressures, 0 sacks. Again, the velocity, his motion's like a full load up. Like he does have a longer motion, but he gets the ball there quick.
Yep.
So you can't have a long motion and not have velocity on the ball. That ball comes out hot, and he peppered the middle of the field. I'm excited to see him play. I really am.
Yeah.
He just got a KYP. He just has to do that.
What's that mean?
Know your
personnel.
Oh, I like that, bro.
Yeah.
KYP.
Know your personnel.
Let me catch that jewel.
I know what you're saying right now, Pax. You're saying
don't throw the
ball
pitch
to Kyle Pitts in the red zone.
in the red zone.
No question.
You don't do it.
That's not on him.
Yeah, KYP.
KYP. Don't throw it to him in the red zone.
Listen, if they'd have started him week 1, I know it's revisionist history, but this looks a lot more like a team that can make noise. Now I don't want to jump out of the gym.
Noise.
They could make noise. They could get in and make some noise. But the point is, to me, is like you had a long runway.
How many more wins?
Everybody questioned.
How many more wins? They would be a 10-win team right now, you think? Or 9?
What are they at, 8?
They're at 8 right now, 8 and 7.
It's too hard to say, but just looking at the small sample sizes, they barely played him in preseason, but he looked good against Miami. I remember coming out of that performance and saying, hey, I know they only played him once, but the things they asked him to do in that game, they were confident in him. If he had like a longer runway, and obviously if you avoided that terrible stretch where Kirk, the bottom fell out from over the last 6 weeks, I mean, I think they got 9. They're in a better position. I don't see a quarterback who doesn't look ready for the pros.
There's the Saints game. They lost by 3.
Yeah.
Honestly, at the end of that Denver game when Penix came in and threw a couple balls, I was like, thank God Cousins started the first 3 quarters of this game.
There's also an element here where, and we see this with all the quarterbacks, Jayden Daniels comes out hot. There's a slump, possibly related to his ribs. But also because, like, after a while, you kind of figure some things out, and then it's on the coordinator and the rookie quarterback to adjust. Same thing with Bo Nix. He's going through that a little bit right now, a little bit of a, dip. And I'm not saying he doesn't have it. Williams has been up and down. Quarterbacks in the league, if he started in September, maybe they figure him out a little bit in October if he had a hot start. Right now, you're figuring out who the Atlanta offense is with Penix under center or in the pistol, what have you. You might get more rollout. You might get more boot. You might get different formations. You might get different routes. You get different areas of the field that you're able to access. The time with which defenses are going to have to figure him out, you're not going to have a lot of tape going into the playoffs if they can get in.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of a accidental
and you go back to
advantage.
the preseason, like you referenced, they didn't play him much in the preseason, but I think that was, in retrospect, an admission by them that they were impressed with what they saw too, and they didn't want more tape out there on him in case they had to go that way down the road.
If that's what the Galaxy Brain Falcons were doing all along, then they're very smart.
I love it.
But they took a lot of shit for this pick, and I'm just excited to see him look good because I was one of the ones when they picked him to be like, hey, man, if he's your franchise quarterback in 5 years, you're not going to care that it was redundant in year one or that you got some money you got to pay Kirk in year 2 or figure it out.
Yeah.
I think Penix looks like, he's got the potential of a pro quarterback.
So I got a question for that. Is it an absolute, though, that they're going to move on? I mean, obviously, it seems like they're going to move on from Kirk. Are they for sure cutting him? Like, is that kind of a foregone conclusion at this point?
I don't think they can just cut him.
Right? Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah, there are financial considerations with that. Like, they take on a lot of dead cap. I mean, if they feel really good about Penix once they finish this season, ideally you can find a trade partner, but
you'd have to also sell on the fly that Kirk's, Achilles was, a temporary issue this year.
Right. Yep.
That's a tough deal because, like, what time do you have to put out tape on Kirk that looks good if the last thing people saw was that stretch and then some preseason tape next year? The trade value's kind of sunk. And then the person who makes the trade has to take on a lot of that salary. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So
100%.
You'd have to be it would have to be a very good team that feels like they absolutely need a quarterback but don't have one.
He does have a $10 million roster bonus due March 17th. So on Saturday, Adam Schefter had said that the Falcons, that's the date they were targeting for. If there was going to be a release, that makes sense. That would come.
He has a no trade clause as well, right?
Right.
So it'd have to be
of course he does, man. He's
comfortable.
He's always been a
Kirk
step
has
ahead.
Killed it. Yeah. He has done
like $350 million or
ever
something,
since
right?
the franchise tags.
But
he has navigated free agency at a fucking pro level.
Shout out to his agent.
Man.
Well, shout out to him too for just being a trendsetter, like a trailblazer in this thing where he's like, I'm going to bet on myself. And then the minute he didn't bet on himself and started asking for guarantees this go round, in the wake of the Achilles, kind of felt like a red flag, which was inevitable to try to say, okay, now I'm not betting on myself. I want the money. But, Falcons, man, everything's out in front of you. This game against the Commanders is going to be big. And, like, you think about Dan Quinn and all the experience he has. Lattimore taking away your best guy. What do you do in those situations? You got to be able to run the football.
Yep.
And you're going to have to be able to access areas of the field that are going to be a little bit more difficult to access than what the Giants gave you.
How much scarier are the Falcons wide receiver core with Michael Penix Jr.? Because like they were like a pretty decent core with Kirk. But then somebody who can throw the ball as like a dart, as we've been talking about with Michael Penix Jr. The ball's out so much faster. He gets it to it so much quicker. They're out of their breaks.
I don't think they're as scary from a deep threat
if you look at
perspective. I feel like
I think the one is Beau talking. I'm sorry, I took out my. Go ahead, Beau.
No, it's all good. I see you over there grinding with the earplugs, Chris. No, I was answering Cowboy. I don't think the Falcons are necessarily as much of a deep threat team. Like, I'm not as familiar with Penix's deep ball, but he did a really good job distributing the ball. Like guys like Mooney,
he's got a big arm.
Exactly.
Drake London's really good too. So like, that's a thing that we're so reactionary in the NFL media. Okay, he played a good game against the fucking.
It's the Giants.
Yeah.
Like let's keep that in mind.
Yeah.
But the thing to me that I was
impressed
impressed with is just you see guys like this is his first start. He hasn't really played much all year, and he just looked poised. And that's the thing that I was most impressed with. He looked comfortable in the pocket. He looked comfortable distributing the ball around to, these different receivers for the Falcons. And I like the Falcons run game. So if he can just kind of do that, like protect the ball, distribute it well to their receivers, to Mooney, to Drake London, maybe get Kyle Pitts going a little bit more. Like then that's all they really need. Protect the football, distribute the ball, run the offense, and then you're in good shape. So
and what else I'm excited for is just like thinking about the other receivers and guys stepping up that might have to play here, like with the last of the season coming up. It's because Michael Penix the whole year, like he hasn't been throwing to these guys. Like Kurt, like when you're in people who don't know, like if you're not the starting quarterback, you get very limited reps in practice, like real time reps, real scrimmage type reps with guys. And you're most likely, until this past week, until they told him he was going to start, he in practice probably weren't throwing a lot of balls to Mooney, London.
They had to do extra work.
They had exactly. If he was, it had to be something that was extra. If guys wanted to get extra catches after the fact, but it's just that now the fact that he just hops in there and you distribute the ball, it's probably guys are probably gonna get more catches than they usually. Some guys might get less catches, but it's just like he's gonna find his security blanket. It's not gonna be the same as Kurt's mine, and I think that's going to be good to see, like, who's going to step up, and we're probably going to start hearing other names, like, a lot more in Atlanta.
Listen, he's not that mobile, but neither is Stafford. And look at the way when they move the pocket in L.A., and that's where the OC comes from.
Yep.
And the run game that you have off tackle with Bijan, with Algier, the way they stress your edges, if you have a guy that can move, the ceiling on the offense gets raised. I think that's the biggest thing. Besides the arm talent, which is not there anymore for Kirk this year, I think it's the mobility and the way it opens up your playbook. And I think Mooney's done a really good job there. There were people that wrote Mooney off before the season as a guy who's he's going to flop, right? Like it just wasn't, we got a little bit.
He was just a deep threat.
He's just a deep threat.
Right.
That is not what he's been. Because you can't be just a deep threat and get buckets in that offense with Kirk Cousins.
Yep.
Okay, is it time to rip the Band-Aid off?
Nearly. We're going to say thank you to BetMGM
Yeah, well, this
for
feels
sponsoring.
like ripping the Band-Aid off as well.
Yeah.
BetMGM has made betting easy and seamless all season long. Hopefully, you have been able to pick up some plays from us to use on the BetMGM app. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code GREENLIGHT to get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. And just a reminder, BetMGM's got your back with a second chance promotion all season long. BetMGM is offering you a second chance on your first touchdown bet. When you place a wager on a first touchdown scorer bet, and he doesn't score first, but score second, BetMGM will return 100% of your stake back in cash. Be sure to take advantage of this offer. And remember, use bonus code GREENLIGHT when you sign up to get a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Happy hunting.
Happy hunting.
Sometimes you go out hunting and you don't find anything. Sometimes you go out hunting and you got to come home and tell your 3 children that there's not any dinner, It's sometimes you go out hunting and you get fucking mauled by a grizzly bear. All right?
You were there, dinner.
Yeah.
You're the dinner.
No, you escape. But you come home and you're like, your wife's like, what the fuck happened to you last night out hunting for our dinner? You don't seem so thrilled.
You came home with your coattail cut?
Came home with, yeah.
Well, supposedly when you go hunting and you miss a shot, they cut your coattail so everyone knows
that you missed the shot.
Yeah. So is that how it was with betting yesterday?
I think my whole coat was gone. Some people listen to the show, they get tired of hearing about it. They're like, I don't like gambling. I don't like how shows have become sports gambling shows. Well, if you can't deal with 4 minutes of a 3-hour pod, especially when I'm sharing my life experience, that's what it's all about. Is like, hey, we're giving you our lives as podcasters. It's not just analyzing the game; it's also fumbling over trying to apply that analysis in your personal life, which is what I did this weekend. All right, and one game that I did not pick a side was the Eagles and the Commanders. Man. This is purely...
You were supposed to be there.
I know. It's supposed to be, and isn't it great that I didn't go with my kids? do
Why? Because the Eagles didn't win?
That would have been crushing. My kids would have left crying or something.
You think they're that into the Eagles? I thought they're not Jayden Daniels fans. Usually kids when they're young, they like quarterbacks.
No, they do.
Yeah, like they'd have been like, Jayden Daniels played
But
great.
they don't know how good that guy is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If they did, they'd be they might switch sides. It's crazy.
It is crazy.
The guy's special, okay?
He's that guy.
He's
that guy.
He is that guy.
He's that guy, pal.
And obviously, we'll start this way. The Jalen injury is unfortunate. It is not why you lost the game. It's part of why you lost the game. The Jalen injury put you in a spot where you had to change the way you played. I think more than anything.
Just slide.
Okay, sliding for sure, right?
Like there's only a couple of ways that you can hit a quarterback. Like you're protected in so many.
But I'm not going to sit up here and blame him. People are going to kill me if I blame him for not sliding.
Yeah, but
I just don't feel like should he slide? Yeah.
Yeah.
Could Luvu lay off him? Sure. It's bang bang, and there's going to be some people who are going to be mad at me that I'm not going to call it an outright dirty play.
I was trying to tell Reed today, I was just like, as a defender, you only have so many opportunities to hit the quarterback. And so when it comes up, like legally, like when you see a quarterback leaning forward to try to get extra yards instead of sliding, you're going to take your shot. If you see a quarterback running after they throw an interception to make a tackle, you're going to take a shot. It's like only a couple of situations where, as a defender, you really light up.
That wasn't an Al-Shire hit.
No,
it was not.
It
was borderline. It was a penalty, maybe. Like go back and look at it.
Not with that crew.
Not with that crew.
Not with that ref crew.
Nope. Didn't get the flag, but with the flag, really, it changed that much. You're down your guy, right? And I think what happened is, and this is where you see the value of Jalen, is. This team's run game is fantastic. The offensive line's fantastic. Saquon Barkley's otherworldly. But the real wrinkle they have is quarterback run. Quarterback run on top of what they have up front and at running back behind him is the thing that makes it so inconvenient to defend this offense in 4-minute mode, which is what they would be in perpetually had he not been hurt. And yet Pickett, there's a lot of people that want to blame Pickett for the loss. You're being short-sighted. You didn't pay close enough attention. Pickett led them on a field goal drive that should win the game and effectively could have won the game. They get the ball back. He hits Devontae Smith on a slant, and Devontae Smith drops the ball. He's the guy I want the ball going to in that situation. He dropped the ball. And credit to him. He's one of my favorite players in the league. Stands up at the locker afterwards, makes no excuses, doesn't even talk through it, just says, I need to catch that ball. And I'm putting the game behind me, and I need to catch the gosh darn ball. And if he catches that ball, it's over. They put up enough points to win. He hit enough third downs, fourth downs. Hey, that interception put them in an inconvenient situation where now Washington's playing a little different, right? Saquon got it right back with a 60-yard touchdown run, but that changes the way you run your offense, and it changes the way Washington runs their offense, honestly. And when the game plan goes out the window, it almost worked in Washington's favor offensively. Because I don't know. I said coming in, they were going to try to limit possessions. Now, obviously, going down 14-0, things change. But the confidence, if I didn't know any better and I just popped in and started running the tape, all 22, second quarter on, I would have said Josh Harris walked down and said, I need to show people that we've got the next great quarterback today. And I know he threw 2 picks. I know they turned the ball over 5 times, which makes it even more ridiculous that they're walking out of there with a win. But it's his legs, man. It's not just, the confidence in the quarterback take a shot out of the end zone at Slay. The moon ball at Quinyon Mitchell where he thinks he's getting an in cut.
Yeah, that scramble.
It's the scramble.
Yeah, shook Jalen Carter with at the end a little bit. And picked it up in that critical moment. Like, yeah, he's great with his legs.
It's all of the scrambles. It's 21-7, 3rd and 8. Nobody in the A gaps. Okay, He walks up, checks the quarterback trap. It's like a veteran quarterback. I mean, it's a big mistake not to have everybody in the A gap. 21-7. You roll him right, 4th and 4. He takes off. He sees the line move to the right. Everybody's like, oh, it's sprint right option. Nope. We are going to hit the back door, pick up the first down. 4th and 11. This was the biggest one. 27-14. And at this point, if they get them off the field here, I think the Eagles win this game running away. But in this situation, you got no balance up, and he shreds them. And then obviously you talk about him beating Jalen to get in the red zone, in that final possession. The guy, you're going to have to deal with him for a decade plus. Mm-hmm. I know Eagles fans want to say, hey, and yes, I think you win the game if Jalen's still the quarterback and he reinforces value by not being out there in a lot of ways. But this quarterback's not going anywhere in Washington. And he's throwing to Zach Ertz, Terry McLaurin, but they don't really have a number 2 that scares you. And they just started this build. Now, good thing for the Eagles is you just drafted a great nickel corner, a lockdown guy outside, and you've got these Georgia Bulldogs up front, including Jalen Carter. It's going to be fun for 10 years if you take the green hat off and you think about it like a football fan. It's going to be fun in the NFC East for the next decade. This little group of players is going to compete against each other and get to know each other real well.
And bravo to the script makers, NFL. We got Jayden Daniels versus Michael Penix, right? Ooh. Sunday night. Flexed it, and it's working.
We got kind of robbed for the Caleb Williams, Jayden Daniels.
Yeah,
so this will be better.
Exactly. Run it back. They got it perfect. Penix had a nice lead-up game. This is just an amazing win for Jayden Daniels, the way it happened and going into this Sunday night. And I feel like they're kind of like a pretty evenly matched team that it should be a great platform.
I saw
for
a line
both of them.
I saw earmuffs for people that they're allergic to gambling. 4.5-point line, I think. I think the Falcons can cover that line. This is a classic game where the Commanders look great against the Eagles sometimes historically, like whether it was Sam Howell or Taylor Heineke. I feel like I've got these images since I retired. And I'm not saying since I'm saying since I've been sitting on my couch. I've been watching a lot of Commanders games where the Eagles they give up 30 points. It's like clockwork. I don't think the Commanders will play that well this coming weekend. They'll come down to earth a little bit. But I think, this dovetails nicely into really the reason the Eagles lost is the defense.
Yeah.
In a game like that, defense has to step up. And obviously missing C.J. Gardner-Johnson was the biggest thing in the game, right? And how he left the game, I can't say what he said. I wasn't there. But to get punched in the face and for them to eject him and not the other guy, I understand why the Eagles fans are kind of pissed off today, especially when they're like, well, they knocked our quarterback out of the game and it was borderline. We didn't get a flag. Okay, tough shit. The defense has to adjust. They've done it before with him out of the game, but they've done it before with
there was
McCollum
a weak call on Jalen Carter too, dude. That unnecessary roughness on Jalen Carter. You know what I mean?
But I'm not going to do this.
You know what I'm talking about?
I'm not going to do this.
No,
though.
I know. It's just frustrating.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm not going to do this because people are going to call us a homer pod, dude. It is not about the officials.
Whatever.
The Eagles had 100 chances to win this game on defense. You talk about communication, attacking the backup safety, which they got a touchdown off of him. The communication on the final play, Bond and Blankenship are talking before the snap. They need to sort a group of receivers. They can't sort the group of receivers. The Commanders get in with the touchdown. 12 men on the field, which is Cliff Kingsbury and that group being ready for the situation and saying, hey, they're trying to sub. Let's go fast. You catch them running off, and they steal an easy touchdown. And then overall, I think also from an execution standpoint, the kick coverage was terrible. Like, that's a small thing, but it ended up being a big thing. That
Lad McConkey was looking like Turpin back there, dude.
Who was?
Like McConkey.
McCaffrey.
McCaffrey.
You're getting the whites mixed up.
McCaffrey.
The Irish guys mixed up.
That's the one thing I'm supposed to know.
But it was like
McCaffrey.
The last game, the last special teams play you got a penalty and they start on the 43.
Yeah.
And the whole game it felt like the Commanders started with good field position. So, when you ask how do the Commanders win with 5 turnovers? Well, you had some timely bad moments offensively. The Kenny Pickett pick, you can't have that, right? We talked about how it changed the script of the game. But the special teams, the hidden yardage with drive starts and that sort of thing. And then, again, going back to the quarterback, when you are in short yardage, so many of these monster long drives. Look before the half. They have a chance to get points. They're in third and manageable. They can't pick it up. I think they picked these up with Jalen on the field because of the quarterback run. And how many off-script quarterback runs do you get on these monster drives late in games? Mm-hmm. Go back to Pittsburgh. Any of these games they close out, they inevitably need one of these big runs. And they didn't get them because Kenny Pickett's not that guy. And it kind of calls into question. I don't mean to question them because they've made so many great decisions. Kenny Pickett, like I said, put them in position to win the game. But when your run game is suited for the quarterback and the quarterback leaves, a lot of your run game is still suited for the starting quarterback. Mm-hmm. And so the backup being somewhat like the starter is oftentimes beneficial. And they did not have that.
They need to go ahead and put that Wildcat package in, because at least give it a go. If Jalen's going to be hurt, I would say throw that Wildcat package in there and just see what Saquon could do.
Think about
see if it does something different. Just snap it.
Let Saquon throw it too,
dude. Just no. How about if Jalen's not playing this week, you tailor your run game to the front and the running back, and you work the slants and the quick game.
But your offense is different without the tush push.
You can force feed A.J. Brown the ball. They got 4 flags in the second half. Like the passing game, it's the run game, man. It's another thing is like when you get down low red, why on 3rd and goal, other than Jalen not being on the field, are we trying a Saquon Barkley pass?
Right.
No bigger evidence of where he's missed than in those gotta-have-it moments. Mm-hmm. So – are the Eagles in trouble? No, their fucking quarterback got hurt. Yeah. Are the Commanders good? Are they scary? When they play the Eagles, I feel like they are. It's just like become a thing. Mm-hmm. And they're a team that the way he played yesterday, that maybe some people don't want to see in the playoffs. I was pretty impressed with that.
100%.
Yeah. Shout out to Cliff Kingsbury for kind of coming on strong late in the season for once.
Yeah, for once.
Absolutely. Yeah, been kind of nice to kind of put those comments to bed a little bit.
Yeah, the entire offensive operation, that whole comeback. I mean, just really smart, recognizing the situation. They knew the Eagles trying to protect against the big play. They handed off a few times for first downs, taking advantage of light boxes, throwing underneath off coverage, and just didn't take any negatives. And then just being able to take advantage of all the mistakes the Eagles made that we laid out.
And defensively, again, you're attacking the dive. You're loading the box, and you're just saying, hey, this guy's got to beat us. And at times he did, but, it's just too much given up defensively for the Eagles. Lions, talk about the Lions. And
hold on.
Go ahead.
Real quick before we move on, I had a mention. I want to get in these mentions a little bit. Hollow Man, I want to know what you thought about this, Chris. But I had Greg Olson, who's defending his call of the game to Eagles fans on Twitter. He went on and was kind of responding to some of the criticisms that he got. So I'm giving him the Hollow Man award, just to I don't know. I didn't think it was that bad, but then when I went back and looked on Twitter and saw what he said, I guess he was very, very commie slanted. I was wondering if he felt that way at all.
Greg
Olson calling the game.
There was one PI that was – I feel like I remember there was a PI where – and I don't know who it slanted towards or against, but he was dead wrong on it. On it. And so
it really seemed like he was rooting for the commies, though, a little bit, and that's fine. Sometimes you get that from the broadcast booth, and it doesn't really bother me. But he was obviously feeling the heat a little bit to go on and apologize on Twitter about it later.
Well, it's one of the big national window markets, for Fox. So Philly, you got to keep the
I got some mentions
Philly people
too.
Happy.
Worst flight, C.J. Gardner. He's usually the one getting guys kicked out of games for punching him in the face, but this time he got punched in the face and he got kicked out.
Yeah.
Can't feel good.
Just a bus ride.
And
too.
I just feel like a fine is coming his way. I mean, when you get kicked out, you probably get fined.
Yeah.
But also too, he got on live before the game was over, and I'm pretty sure that's a fine also. Like while the game was going on, when he got to the locker room, he was on live.
Yeah. When I got ejected, the last thing in my mind was,
let me see what these faceless internet folks think about what's going on.
When I got ejected, I don't know if there was IG Live, but I wouldn't have been getting on it. I was like, is my hand broken? I punched a guy in the fucking face and the helmet, and I went in there, and I was like, man, I'm a moron, aren't I? I was in there. It was just me and the GM. There's nothing weirder than getting ejected and having to go into the locker room, and it's quiet in there, and you can kind of hear like, the roar of the crowd. I had to watch the game on a little TV.
Yep.
That had to suck. Worst seat, CJ Gardner-Johnson.
Yeah.
And then I got one more mention. Fly on the wall is, I want to know what Jalen Carter, the one dude that no one can ever calm down in a situation, is saying to CJ Gardner, trying to calm him down.
Well, that's why you need dogs, man. Like, dogs can calm dogs down, dude.
We saw it in Pittsburgh.
Broderick Jones.
Thank you. Yeah,
he's like, I know this dog. I'm a dog as well.
That's why
we are dogs together.
I can bark at it. Now Jalen Carter. I just want to say this: like, the defense, as poorly as they played at times, late. The start of the game, they passed that test with flying colors. Like, midfield twice. Get the stop on fourth down. Jalen Carter, so smart. He sees that the puller's light. He communicates it, and he backdoors the thing and punches the ball out. Like, guy's going to be special.
That's nice for a year two player.
Yeah.
Like, that's really nice.
Yeah. So
that play he called out, he was like, "Oh, I see the knuckles. I know exactly what's coming." Shed
what
the
I mean.
center.
It's like Invincible.
Thing of beauty.
He watched Invincible.
Yeah.
All right, so then we got to talk about the NFC North, because those two teams took care of business. And the Eagles basically lose the one seed.
They need help.
They got like 5% chance.
Yep, they need help.
Not to say you can't go on the road and win. It just, if you think about Detroit or something like that, Detroit absolutely needs home field advantage with the way their defense is playing, with the way their defense presents itself right now with the injuries. And I think Minnesota, like, if you had to go to Minnesota for some reason, you think about like the blitz diversity that you're getting with the noise.
Yeah.
The one thing about Minnesota that I think actually could play in talking about possible matchups, we'll get to the Vikings in a second. Minnesota's interior offensive line has struggled. That is one area that I really like the Eagles' chances. You know what I mean? Like, of affecting the game. So,
isn't it wild though that one of the Lions or Vikings will go on the road in the wild card?
No question.
Right?
No question.
Like, to see the record that they have,
which lends itself to the fact that we should probably do the playoffs, like we talked about.
Yes, exactly.
So
we're smart over here.
Yeah, we are.
Big brains.
The Lions, they got big brains. They have such big brains that, and this is from Nolan Bianchi on Twitter.
Good name.
Jared Goff, it's a good name. Jared Goff on the stumble play touchdown says they ran it 3 or 4 times throughout the week. Said it was a good play for the Bears scheme specifically. Ben Johnson asked him if he could actually fumble on purpose, which is a wild question.
Bumbarooski.
And Goff suggested, no, I think we just fake the fumble instead. They keep, I don't want to say wasting these brilliant trick plays, but I've never seen a team so, fuck it, let's just run it.
Yeah.
Like, it's a 2-score game in the third quarter. They're not going to lose the game. And they're like, let's just fucking run this play. And they're so entertained by it. They're tickled to death by it.
The reason why I love it is just like, I think about other defensive coordinators just being like, fuck, like, we have to put this in practice.
We have to talk about this
Like,
now.
we have to at least run this a couple of times and make sure our linebackers aren't idiots to bite on this. And it's just the fact that now they have about 6 of those type of plays. It piles up for how much time you have to, like, put aside for trick plays or out of the ordinary things when you play against them.
And I want to say this too. This team rebounds really well. Like, I know they haven't lost a lot this year, but they've had a lot of, bumps in the road. And, a loss like that, you saw how sleepy the Bills were coming out. They said, hey, we're going on the road. Let's jump this team, be done with it. They jumped the Bears. Goff in cold weather, as somebody who used to subscribe to, hey, in the cold weather, he's not as good. Hand up. Like, no, he's found it. This year in the Green Bay game, in the rain, it was like a monsoon. He was the one who handled the ball better.
Mm-hmm.
And yesterday, Jameson Williams, who had a big day, he hit him in stride on a ball that traveled, I think, 58 yards in the air. That was an absolute dime coming off his glove.
Dime.
In the cold weather. And one thing I wanted to see was Jahmyr Gibbs with a full workload. I think he got the ball 23 times. And that's not counting the creative ways they get him the ball in the passing game. It's going to be interesting to keep an eye on how he handles the full workload and how their offense might change. But one thing I wanted to note offensively, and I'm so impressed with Aaron Glenn, the way he's gotten guys to step up, right, like defensively that we've never heard of, and just do enough. But, Christian Mahogany had to play yesterday in for Graham Glasgow, did a really nice job. So, that's a guy that you wanted to see play well. I thought he played really well. And then for people that kind of stat watch and look at PFF grades, which are kind of horseshit, actually, like, objectively horseshit.
Yeah.
I was reading about the game before I turned on the All-22, and, just it's a small thing. Only Lions fans might care about this, but they were like, Ezekiel Turner struggle. Look at his PFF grade. And I was like, damn, they got him in the red. Let me just buzz through. I didn't see anything terrible. I just saw a guy who didn't get a lot of work. He's covering grass. They weren't throwing at him a lot. So as a side note, just be careful what you read and go off of when it comes to these grades. Even though they're right there for the whole country to see in the biggest window of the week, Sunday Night Football. Hey, this is the 47th ranked tackle in the league. Like, no, it's not. We don't know. The guys grading the tape don't know. Either way, get well soon, Anzalone, because they will need him underneath. I said, Noel, run me the coverages, and tell me what they're doing a little bit different from a coverage standpoint, because we have ways of sorting all this. And cover 4 is something that they're leaning into a little less right now. They'll still man up and that sort of thing. But cover 4, to me, you need a linebacker in the middle of the field who can cover a lot of ground, right? And Anzalone's that guy with the instincts and the range. It's just one thing that they can't do as much of right now without that guy on the field. So Anzalone coming back is going to be big for them. I'll just say this. Lions, impressive. You won't hear me say a bad word about the organization of the team. And I'm not going to count them out. I think Lions fans have this. They're so callous from all the losing, and now they get a good thing, and the national media wants to take it away. They still got a shot. They can outscore people. Anzalone can come back. That's going to help a lot.
And they're going to have home field, which is huge.
If they have home field, that's huge.
Rocking lately. I think they should, right? I mean, you look at it, if they win out, which it seems likely if I'm –
yeah, the Minnesota game.
If they win out, they get it
a little bit.
That Minnesota game is that's a huge game.
That's what it comes down to, right? So, and that's if Minnesota can win this week as well, right?
Yeah.
So,
it's wild. Like Minnesota, and if both teams win this week, they'll basically be playing an extra playoff game, right? Because you view that game, Week 18, that matchup as a playoff game,
right?
So they'll get an extra. Like, I wonder how taxing that is, as for each organization, for those players going in. Oh, we got this. Then we actually have the playoffs.
Well, it's not if you get the bye.
Yeah,
I think the bye is huge for all these teams for different reasons. I think the Eagles having to play the full slate kind of worries me a little bit. I'm not going to say they can't get there. They'll get, they're good enough to do it. But, I think the Lions need the bye, but for health and for all those but the Lions need that bye for the reasons I mentioned with their defense, in my opinion. A lot harder for an undermanned defense to go on the road and play well. The noise, the pressure, those are things that play into things. And then if Minnesota gets home field, that's a tough place to play, and they're playing really good football right now. And you talk about like trying to communicate protections. talk about, hey, this guy's coming, that guy's coming. I'm not really sure who's coming. Like having those conversations, as loud as it is there, relative to having those conversations at the link when things are quieter, that's a big difference. So the Vikings, big gutsy win yesterday against the Seahawks. I think the big sequences of the game came down to these moments for Minnesota. Before the half, they're tied at 7, and this is how a penalty can kill you. And for Seattle, you might look back at this sequence and say, hey, this is what did it. But they get a sack, and they're going to force the Vikings to kick a field goal. It should be 10-7. Instead, you end up down 14-7 because the drive gets extended because Trey Brown is offsides. He's like lined up in the neutral zone bad, which is not something you typically see guys removed from the ball doing. Ironically, usually you say, hey, nose tackle, the ball's right there, but you see a lot more of it up front than outside. This guy's way offsides. And then the next play, basically, they leave him inexplicably one-on-one with Justin Jefferson. Thank you very much. Mm-hmm. And then the very next possession where, you find yourself down now a touchdown, Geno throws a pick, and off they go. And I think the other moment for me was Sam Darnold needing a touchdown in Seattle, where it was feeling like Seattle at home. Like that felt like Seattle in the second half. Felt like that stadium came alive. The defense was playing lights out on third down. Those guys competed their asses off on third down against a very good group. And Sam needs a touchdown late in the game and having to go the length of the field, climb in the pocket to hit Justin Jefferson on a rolled up ankle, on a bad knee, whatever it was. And here's the craziest part about this moment for me, which was a narrative shedding moment. As much as a moment could be a narrative shedding moment. He didn't play great last week. Everybody's waiting for the bottom to fall out with this guy. And with the game on the line, Kevin O'Connell, the best coordinator coach in the league right now, in my opinion, offensively, can't even get the play in. The comms go out.
Wild.
The comms go out.
Crazy.
Darnold hears the formation. That's it. They're playing backyard ball. And, we would call it on defense, check whoop ass. He checks Justin Jefferson. Safety's a little late. And we went through here, and it looks like cover 2.
Yep.
To me, if I'm playing cover 2, I understand it's 3-by-1, and you're worried about something coming from the other side, and you're probably worrying about the post from Naylor and that sort of thing, but that safety needs to be just way over here.
You got to know
asterisk.
Yeah, Justin Jefferson. Yeah.
It's 3 by Justin Jefferson.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's different.
That's 3 by JJ.
That's why you have a safety over the top there. But no, Chris, I'm giving my game ball to Justin Jefferson, man. I don't know how he's continued. He's so good every single week, man, despite getting that safety over the top, double coverage. I think he had, 2 touchdowns, 150 yards or something like that. And he was
And the gritty is just always immaculate. It's always immaculate. He even got a penalty on one in a warning. And I think that's funny to think that realistically, he could score touchdowns on people and he could do the gritty. And you can get kicked out of an NFL game for doing the gritty because he got one penalty and it was a warning. And it was like, if he gets another one for doing this, he's out the game. And that's kind of mind blowing to think. It's kind of crazy.
Here's the best quote from possible coach of the year, Kevin O'Connell. We've got to be smart about the direction at which we gritty, I guess.
The broadcast.
Exactly.
They got flagged for grittying at somebody.
Witherspoon. The broadcast is
Witherspoon.
The broadcast is like, he did the gritty at Witherspoon.
Yeah.
Which is an incredible 2024.
And then they they referenced the Key and Peele skit. It was like maybe it was too many pumps kind of thing.
Yeah. The third pump is too much.
Somebody said this in the chat, Jake Thornton. I like Darnold, but I think the system is part of it. Darnold wouldn't be as good with that. Wouldn't be as good with that OC that isn't as good as with an OC that isn't as good as KOC. I agree with you, but that's kind of how this league works. If you haven't noticed,
yep.
Yeah.
Like except for a couple guys. How did Josh Allen look at time, who in my opinion right now is the best quarterback on the planet? How did he look at times with Ken Dorsey? Not like he looks now. Mahomes has always had Reed. Mm-hmm. Burrow's going on this generational run with a coach that I'm just not even sure about, but like obviously something's working. Most of these quarterbacks are variable depending on where they are playing and who they're playing under. Baker Mayfield, perfect example. He's had a million coordinators. He's had a very variable experience in the NFL. I would consider him a top 10 guy. You know what I mean? Most guys are not immune to this. How did Jalen look at times with the guy they had last year? How did he look
Brian
with
Johnson,
Shane? Yeah. How did he? It just depends, man. It just depends. And I think Sam Darnold, it sucks for him because he started his career a certain way. Our confirmation bias is so strong. If he started his career with Kevin O'Connell and looked like this, we'd be like, oh, he's a Hall of Famer. Mm-hmm. That's what we'd say because he's young and he looks great. We are stuck on the first look we had at a guy. And the truth is always somewhere in between. And I think, having KOC helps a lot, obviously. But not every quarterback is going to be able to lead this team to 11-2 or whatever they are. Or not 11-2 at this point. They're fucking what? 13 and whatever it is. So
13-2, yeah.
13-2. So gutsy win for them. And for the Seahawks, with Geno, man, as long as he's the quarterback of the Seattle Seahawks, and I say this with all due respect to a guy who, again, resurrected his career. As long as he's the quarterback, they're going to be in purgatory. You know, if you had if Geno was 25, you might say, hey, let's keep developing the guy in our system. I don't even know about the system. You know, it kind of consists of backyard ball sometimes. It consists of him and DK not being on the same page. It consists of abandoning the run game, pre-snap penalties. There were so many penalties in this game. And you get the full Geno Smith experience, which is nothing short of spectacular jaw-dropping throw to JSN before the half down the seam. Okay. The throws to DK, the throw for a touchdown, and then you get 3 to 5 turnover-worthy plays a game. And a lot of times in really bad spots. He tried to throw one to Cashman, hit him in the chest.
Hit him in the chest, yeah.
He threw one to Dallas Turner, who's a defensive end. He threw one right at Shaq Griffin. And obviously the last one's maybe a little bit on DK, but it feels like a lot of his picks oftentimes come when trying to force the ball DK, which is partially on DK, but he just puts them in a spot. And I think Ryan Grubb, the OC, I don't sense that they have an identity.
Yeah.
Their best identity to me is sometimes I want them to go tempo because I'm like, they look better doing this. And then sometimes I'm like, it would help to run the ball more than 8 times in the game going into the fourth quarter. You know, so I can't figure this group out. Obviously want to shout out the defense for playing well on third down. They've still got a shot. They're going to play Chicago this weekend, and then they've got to beat the Rams, who actually eked one out yesterday and made it really hard on them. But want to shout out Van Ginkel. He had some big plays in double-digit club now. He's a premier rusher in the NFL.
The leading was how much did the leading?
13.5.
13.5.
Yeah. Him
and Grenard both have 11.
He's a perfect example, and that's a great duo. He's a perfect Grenard's more of a pure rusher. Mm-hmm. Van Ginkel's a great football player.
Bucket.
You know, his buckets are not all going to come with jaw-dropping pass rush moves where you win and
just get there sometimes.
Sometimes he's adding, sometimes finishing the play in the pocket is a tough deal. Mm-hmm. And you know, from where he comes, he has really good vision. And, you know, he's just an all-around really good player. So shout out to Van Ginkel. And for the Vikings, they're going to go into a game with Green Bay where they have a health advantage. They're going to go into a game with Green Bay where they have a rest advantage and then the health advantage against Detroit. So
I haven't mentioned before we move on.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have a Bevel Conway.
Yeah.
It's kind of different, but the Bevel Conway is going to Mark Sanchez, Geno, and Sam Darnold. Is like Mark Sanchez watching his fellow.
That was a funny graphic.
His fellow ex-Jets quarterbacks alums all kind of doing their job right now at a high level. Mark in the
they're
booth.
all in greener pastures than MetLife.
Moved on.
They're all just like, all right, we made it out the mud.
My God.
Made it out the mud.
Yeah.
Darnold's not seeing ghosts anymore.
Sanchez was in that picture, and when they showed him, he was like, "Oh, come on!" And then he realized, hey, you know what? We're all
pretty good.
Yeah.
Look at us.
Look at us.
Look at us, guys.
But so obviously, the Rams win that game, and another wrong side moment for me. But I was a flat earther for like 4 hours. I was all in on Rodgers and whatever you say. I was like, Aaron, if you win this game, I won't take another vaccine. I'm just fucking around. But those are the kind of things that I needed. I was like, man, come on, please. But it felt like, I'm going to be honest, and I'm not trying to be critical. It's kind of like it's all the parents are gone in that place. Like the kids are running the show, and Rodgers is 40 years old, but he's a kid. Like he can't be a football player and a fucking coach at the same time. And I felt like a lot of the time yesterday, they were just, he was making decisions on when to go. Like I felt like he was making decisions on fourth down, and there were some really bad decisions on fourth down and when to go in this game. And they converted on a couple of them, but in a low-scoring game, it felt like they were too good for the points. It felt like the Jets were so hell-bent on like winning in some spectacular fashion, they were too greedy. This was a low-scoring game. They kind of let the Rams off the hook in some spots, and the Rams, man, to their credit, if you're going to let them off the hook, they're gonna take it and run with it. They're going to finish games, and I'm just so impressed with this group, the way they've been able to win the high-scoring games, like beating Buffalo in a barn burner, and then win the game in the rain against San Francisco, and win this game 19-9 in a game that's kind of, it's a rock fight. I don't even know if it qualifies as a rock fight. The Rams, they're dangerous. Now, they don't play as well out in the cold, out in the elements. I mean, I think we've seen enough to say like they're most dangerous in a dome. They might have to go on the road if they get in. They will. Chances are at some point. And you kind of wonder where those matchups lead for them. But they are a team that people aren't going to want to see in the in dance. Now, I enjoyed watching Olu Fashanu and like guys like Jared Verse battle. I thought Olu actually, before he got hurt, right, actually played pretty well. I think, going into the offseason or whatever it is, you can look back at that tape and say, hey, measured up pretty well in some spots. I saw him handle the bull from Verse. Like at one point, Verse tried to run down his shit, and he stood in there, and then Verse went over there. So, like for the Jets, you're looking at things from very macro, 30,000-foot view. Like we're hearing rumblings that, what are we hearing about Rodgers coming back to the Jets? I'm hearing different things, but don't do it. Just don't do it, man.
Yeah.
Like, don't do it.
Move on.
Move on.
Everyone needs to move on.
And you know what? Be fair to him. He's thrown some really nice balls this year in spots. He's also thrown some really bad balls. But the sum of the parts just hadn't added up to winning football. And
the Jets can bring in Kirk and continue the veteran quarterback coming off of Achilles injuries.
What would you do if you were the Jets? Probably just draft.
Yeah.
But the Rams get the win, and obviously it's going to be a lot harder for the Seahawks now.
The Rams are trouble, I think, in the playoffs. Like, think about the Rams. Didn't the Rams beat the Vikings during the regular season? Like, if you're Minnesota, that's
another thing. And Byron Murphy had a big face mask in that game where, for a second, if you're a Minnesota fan, you're like, hold on.
Hold on a minute, player.
Yeah, you didn't call that, the first time. You better call it this time. So, the Rams are tough, man. I
had a mention for this game as well, Chris. Before we completely move on, something about this game being played at MetLife. It was a cold game, but it was like still kind of sunny out, and then the green for the Jets with the LA Rams. I think they were wearing white or whatever. It didn't do it for me. It was an anti-bevel for me. It didn't look that pretty.
I love the Jets unis, but yeah, if the Rams were in the old Nolan Cromwells, the Eric Dickersons, that would have been a thing of beauty, but it wasn't. So looking at the playoff picture, you guys want to check this thing out?
Yes.
Yeah. Enhance.
We're kind of a man down this week. So.
Well, I got it. Yeah. So all in the NFC side, all 4 of your divisions can be clinched in Week 17. The Eagles clinched the East with a win. Lions clinched the North. If they win and the Vikings lose to the Packers, Falcons would clinch the South. They beat the Commies, and the Bucks lose. And then the Rams, the West, with a win over the Cards, and the Seahawks lost to the Bears. And then as far as those wild card spots, if both the way the picture looks today, if the Packers and the Commies get one more win, they're in. But if either of those teams were to lose out, and then the Buccaneers, or basically the second place team in the NFC South or the NFC West ends up with 10 wins, then you get into some murky water.
I'm such a visual learner. I hope the people in the chat got all that. For me, I made it like 5 seconds, and then I just couldn't.
I think I got most of it.
Okay.
I'm with
just
you.
Just tell me what the Eagles need to do. Win a game?
The Eagles need to beat the Cowboys.
Just win a game.
Yep.
Win out.
You win the East.
Yeah.
Well, what if they lose to the Cowboys and then win Week 18?
Lose to the Cowboys wearing Kelly Greens? Come on, man.
One more win.
Come on.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just preparing for worst case scenarios.
Didn't they lose in the Kelly Greens last time?
They played Buffalo in the Kelly Greens last year. They played Miami in the Kelly Greens last year. They played who in the Kelly Greens this year? I don't know. I feel like you were like
was Miami last year?
Yeah, Miami last year. Buffalo last year. I forget who they played in the Greens this year. They also played Jacksonville a couple years ago in the Kelly Greens. Anyways,
layups.
So yeah, I mean, is there a scenario where none of these divisions are locked up
Jaguars
to Week 18?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if let's say the Lions drop it this week against the Niners, then the Lions and the Vikings, they meet in that Week 18 matchup, and that's a big one. So,
tell me this though: Lions could win this week.
Yeah, they can clinch the North this week with a win over the Niners
with a win
and a Vikings loss.
And a Vikings loss.
Yep.
Okay.
The Vikings got the Packers.
So there's a chance that obviously what I was going on the assumption of is we're going to get basically a game for the whole division Week 18 because I expect both of them to win.
Yep.
Okay, so you get one there. The Eagles might need Week 18 to clinch the East. There's a scenario where that happens. Probably not. We hope not. The South is obviously up for grabs. That could be a Week 18 deal.
Yep.
And then the West could come down to the Week 18.
If the Rams lose this weekend against Arizona, then it's Seattle, LA.
Or Seattle if Seattle wins.
Yeah, sorry, that's right. Then the Week 18 matchup between Seattle and LA.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but it's not just if the Rams lose. The Rams can the Rams can win and Seattle can win, and then they play each other for the whole shebang. So that's the NFC. The shit show that is the NFC. Now, in the AFC, we had the Bills eke it out. Listen, interesting nugget. Rappaport confirmed that Josh has a broken hand. He broke it week 1, non-throwing hand, obviously. And we were talking about it yesterday. Nolan went back and was like, hey, I think it's week 1 because he came back in the Cardinals game with something on his hand after
it was right in the fourth
red
quarter.
zone.
Yeah, he went over, dove in for a touchdown, took a hit there. He kind of got out there celebrating, but he's looking at his hand. And then next series he comes out, he's taped up.
Yeah, and
then week 2 he's wearing the glove.
So they don't leak things like this if they're worried about it. Like he's fine. I think it's also a bit of a like, hey, guy's an MVP. He's also been playing with a broken hand, that kind of deal. Yeah. Now it feels like he's got this elbow thing where, he's doing this a lot on the sideline trying to feel his hand. I don't know if it was a funny bone thing or something, but he had that yesterday. It also could have just been cold as hell. Remember, Jordan Phillips was wearing that parka in pregame. The reason this game stayed close is because I think the Bills knew coming off of last week, hey, we'd love to run the ball and get out of here. It's cold. You remember they played I forget who they played, but it was the Patriots a couple years ago, and it was like ungodly cold. The wind was blowing like crazy. They just ran the rock. you depend on the QB run. You don't take too many chances in the passing game. I think they came in and said, hey, if we can shorten the game, get out of here. We don't care about covering. Not like the rest of us. We're just gonna take care of business. But Drake May in the first half, you couldn't get him off the field. Third down was a nightmare. And the defense, to me, like when I'm seeing Bishop, Spector, Elam, a bunch of guys you don't want to have out there in the playoffs. And yeah, they're out there doing an admirable job at times and that sort of thing. Especially Spector, like I think it got better when you saw more of Dorian Williams. Elam, they took shots at him. The first throw at the pylon was why, if you're a Patriots fan, you feel like you're going to be okay. I mean,
dying.
The dude, Drake May, the hospital ball he threw to Hooper in the second half was, I know Hooper had to give himself up for that, but it was a gorgeous throw. And he made those throws in the elements. And on the other sideline is the best quarterback on the planet. And on the other sideline, the guy is not having his best day. Him and Shakir are on the same page. I just don't think the game script they imagined following was the one they had to follow. And in the first half, they could not get off field. Second half did a better job. But even at the end of the game, it felt like they had 7 chances, the Patriots, to get in the end zone in low red and make it a 24-21 game. Allen and Shakir not on the same page is not good news when it happens.
Yeah.
It affects the passing game greatly. But I think that's kind of what the game came down to. It's like, do I worry about the Bills' defense? Yeah. Oh, I worry about them. Do I worry about them even more when they have those guys out on the field that I mentioned? Yes. If you're going to play the playoffs with that many guys, akin to Detroit, it's like it's like an AFC version of Detroit a little bit.
Yep.
Where they've had to rely on some guys on defense. Milano was out. That makes a big difference. Certainly not making excuses for a group that I don't think is great anyways. But, the Patriots, they had a good game plan. They got on the edges in the run game.
And that's what I'd say. The one thing I did like about this game, if you're watching and you have to play the Bills or thinking about playing the Bills in the postseason, I feel like the Patriots had the right idea on how you beat Josh Allen. And it's kind of similar to how you beat Mahomes. You keep them on the sideline as much as you can. Because the first half, the Patriots, those first couple of series, they did everything they were supposed to. Like, you get up early on a team like the Bills, you score your first drive, and then you force them to punt, and then you score again before they even could get on the board. And obviously, Bills are a great team. That run by Cook was amazing, and that probably saved them that game.
No question.
Being able to hit that touchdown quickly like they did.
Yeah.
But up until that point, the Pats, it was just like, oh, they might have a little formula. And you look up and you're like, damn, we ain't even really seen Josh Allen yet.
You know what else is funny? When you look at the Bills this year, and I've mentioned this a couple times, they have started slow at home in a number of ball games. And I don't know what that is. I think they're as good as anybody when it's time to go into the half and say, hey, wake the fuck up, Josh, big son of a bitch. Let's get going. Like, he knows how to turn it on. Coming out of the half, they did what they had to do. But, I know there's some fans of some other teams, maybe Chiefs fans, who are sitting there the whole game like, see, they're not any good. And then they end up beating a bad team by 3, and then they can't really. It's a Spider-Man meme. So I thought that was a good thing to pull out a win in an imperfect situation. I think actually they'll come out of this thing and get closer as a result. It's better they got chin checked by the Pats than kind of continued to roll. I really do think in situations like that, it's okay to have to play a close game.
And also, I think everyone's on my guy's back about bringing that ball out, that interception, out to the 1-yard line on the interception. But we have to understand the Pats ultimately are trying to lose. That was part of the plan.
You think it's part of the plan?
Yeah, you got to look.
That was a big break. That was a big break. The Cam Lewis pick was huge. That's my football guy, Cam Lewis. And then the lateral, the swing pass that just turns into a touchdown for the Bills. So you can say what you want about the Bills' defense. I don't think they're that good at all, but they have made some opportune plays.
They came up huge in this game.
Yeah. I had a weird bet, obviously, go figure, right? Bills 2 defensive or special team touchdowns. So when that happened, I was excited, and there was a couple of more opportunities where I was like, yo, that could have been a touchdown.
There were a couple more.
On defense, and it would have been great, but almost. Nice sweat.
Now, we're talking about the MVP here. People love this low-hanging fruit. Somebody said, I think it's a close three-man race. This is Kilpie said, I think it's a close three-man race for MVP, Lamar, Allen, Saquon. I don't understand how people are saying it's already Allen's. Listen, I think it's pretty close between Allen and Lamar, but the difference is I think the way he's elevated the Bills has been – and the way Lamar elevates any team he's on, and he can be a one-man circus, but so can Josh. And it wasn't just stats in the past, like for MVP. It's not always the best stats, get you the award. Now, Lamar's had some incredible numbers this year, and he's taking good care of the football. It just feels like when it's close, it goes to the team that's winning. It goes to the team that's winning, whether you like it or not. If you wanted to talk about value, we'd be talking about Joe Burrow. Like, if you wanted to talk about, like, Joe Burrow.
100%.
What was the thing you read me earlier?
Yeah, let me pull it up.
Well, we're talking about value, too, isn't
Yes.
Sam Darnold be up there, too?
And I know I just left Saquon off.
Wouldn't Sam Darnold maybe be up there?
No,
Darnold
because
should be up there, but
there's more interchangeability between him and, like, we've seen KOC elevate quarterbacks before.
Yeah.
I think that factors in.
But Jefferson, too, he's having a crazy season.
Well, Jefferson is part of the reason. It's like you give Jefferson to fucking Josh Allen or Lamar.
True.
So I didn't even want this to turn into a Darnold slander thing. It's kind of a thing where it's like we're talking about the MVP here. Right. Saquon, to me, as much as any running back could be that guy, sure, but it didn't help yesterday that when Jalen goes out, they can't run the ball.
I mean, he's still at 150 yards, though.
I understand, but they couldn't run the ball in the second half.
Do you think if Saquon breaks the single season rushing record, that affects the votes for MVP?
Who holds the record right now? Eric Dickerson?
If he breaks that, like, do you think
if Chris Johnson broke the rushing record when he was this close, would he have been the MVP?
I don't know.
No, but it's rhetorical. Like, I don't think so. I don't.
Okay.
I don't
but were Tennessee that good?
I don't remember how good Tennessee was. I don't think they were that good.
Okay. That's what I'm saying. I also
think records, man.
It matters.
It matters
because
But we have one more game now.
Yeah, but that's an individual accomplishment. I feel like the MVP is more based off of,
lifting your team.
It's more based on how you elevate your team. Like, if you didn't have, I think what Chris was kind of saying earlier is like, okay, if the Vikings didn't have Sam Darnold, it'd still likely be in a very similar position of success.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Whereas if the Bills didn't have, Josh Allen, or the Ravens
story.
didn't have Lamar, it'd be a totally different story.
Yeah. And that's what that's why I'm asking that, because I do feel like it's going to be a quarterback, and it's probably going to be Lamar. But if we get to that last game and say Saquon, it's like a little edge, and he does break that record, I wonder if the voters are like, you know what, like, most valuable player, like, he's broke this record, maybe we should, or I'm looking at it a little bit more, and other things you're looking for intangibles when it comes to Lamar.
I'm going to take a leak, and you guys can talk about this very fan-centric award, because it's not like we sit here all day talking about who the MVP is, but I know that people love talking about the MVP. I wouldn't know. It's got to be amazing to be in the running for the MVP, like be one of these guys that, and it probably means the world to them, but name the last 10 MVPs.
I mean, you got to.
You can name them. You can name them because I did get a Heisman vote.
That's like the same thing.
No, but I'm gonna take a lead.
Maybe there's a for the Josh Lamar thing, like a strength of victory angle here, where like they both played the Chiefs and only one of them beat them. I don't know.
Because I keep hearing what the Lamar thing is just that, like, how high his QBR, like, and how it's rose and how it's so much better than other guys when they're kind of calling him a running quarterback. So I feel that kind of works in his favor in the sense of everyone mentally, like, wants to say and be like, oh, Lamar's just a running quarterback, or he's mainly this. And then you look at his numbers and you're like, well, guys.
Yeah, anybody saying that is not watching the game.
Yeah.
Like, he's been incredible as a passer all season long.
When Chris Johnson when Chris Johnson had just over 2,000 yards, he was not in the top 4 for NFL MVP voting. That was Peyton Manning, and then we had Drew Brees, Phillip Rivers, Brett Favre.
Right. So, for running backs.
And they were 8-8 that year.
For running back, it would take, all the best quarterbacks having a bad year.
Yeah.
Or, Mahomes-like year where it's like, it's a little bit of an effort here. And the guy would have to rush for 2,500 yards and be on the best team in the league. If Saquon had, shattered the record, then maybe we're talking about
if he had done it in 16 games where that extra game didn't matter.
I do think the extra game matters, dude.
Exactly.
You look at rushers now and you compare this guy's got this many sacks, and I'm like, well, you all have an extra game. It's not a big deal, but it kind of matters. If somebody were to break the record, it'd be somebody's ringing our doorbell. Yeah. We're not coming to the door, dude.
It's somebody with a compelling MVP.
Yeah. What if it's like Lamar? He's just standing there like this.
It's a Lions fan here to present Goff.
Yeah. Saquon Barkley just ran here. So, you got a piss too? Yes. Man, hydrated bunch. So enough about the MVP. We're talking about another guy who knows, all about the MVP. Going back to Saturday, wrapping up the AFC, kind of like the Blue Bloods playoff picture deal. I thought the Texans game, and I love watching single games. I was talking to somebody the other night who was like, man, I hate it. It's like, it's a game every couple days and that sort of thing, and it's hard to know when the games are. And yeah, but at least you get to really focus in on one game. Mm-hmm. I don't know if y'all understand this as media members. I feel like I got to watch every game when they're on Sunday, and it's hard. Then I got to go back and watch everything again because, it's like there's 5 on at a time. Y'all are getting to watch your favorite team. I love sitting there, and I know there's got to be some people out there who just love watching everything. I love being able to sink into one game.
The island game.
An island game at a time. Yep. Saturday, great. I think the NFL should adopt Friday Night Football.
Yeah.
I think move Thursday to Friday night, own Friday night. Give guys one more break. Shit on whatever small college football game there is.
Boise State get fucked.
College football, dude. College football, get out of here. Seriously.
You didn't watch any of those college football games?
Yes, I hemorrhaged cash on them. Everybody at the bar was like, "Who do you like in this game?" I was like, ask another guy who hasn't watched a single second this year. But evidently, it's just bet the favorites, and they're all double-digit favorites.
Bet the home team.
They can't figure out how to get this playoff right. I know it's year one, but I think that's a threat to the viability. Everything that's going on in college football right now, whether it's, I can remember in the beginning when if you said, "Hey, players shouldn't get paid," you were like an extremist. Yo, Al Collins is here. Nate's dad. Here, Nate's dad. Just get on camera for a second. Just get on camera for a second. Nate's dad is here. Sit next to Nate. Sit next to Nate. Al Collins is in the building.
Let's go.
How y'all doing?
Dr. Fax Sr.
Santa? Is that Black Santa?
It is.
Building?
It is. What up, dude? What's going on, bro? Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
This is the original right
That
here.
is sick.
Go.
So this helmet.
Oh, it's the helmet.
This helmet was tweeted out by a college football recruiting thing last night, and I saw it and I was like, "That looks like Dr. Fax."
Yeah.
And I sent it to Nate. I was like, "Why are you wearing a helmet with so many logos?"
It's the East-West Shrine Bowl, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty damn cool. That's pretty damn cool.
Someone said that this is how all the new kids entering the transfer portal
Yeah, that's basically it.
need to have their helmets.
But here's the thing. We're talking about college football. College football's got to figure this out because even the people who are the loudest for players getting paid get tired of the NIL stuff now because, hey, I hope they all get super rich. But when you're talking about guys that are entering the transfer portal who weren't even in the transfer portal because some other school is just hey, I'll give you 10 mil. You hear, then even the most progressive of us get all right, bro, it's kind of the Wild West.
Right.
And then on top of it, the transfer portal in and of itself, you can't fall in love with teams. It's hard to track players. The parity is, and we'll see if it gets better, but it's not good enough. The NFL's king, bro. There's people, Stanford Steve gets on here every week. He's like, "Oh, the college football, you just wouldn't understand." Steve, you get to go to the coolest stadium at the biggest game every week to watch it. Why do you think you like college football better? Fucking pro football's better, dude.
Yeah.
Pro football's better. You can watch Raiders Jags and feel like anything can happen, and it might be worth it watching it.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know. I'm just college football is a little bit of a sore subject for me right now, but part of it because Tennessee,
actually,
like Tennessee, bro.
Tennessee, worst seat. Yeah. Imagine going out there trying to be all hard, taking your shirt off, your little pregame, celebration. You're doing your little banded scap pull-aparts with no shirt on.
Banded scap pull-aparts.
Balaclava on, and then you go get your brakes blown off by Ohio State. Worst seat for the Tennessee Volunteers pregame. I think that's such a stupid trend right now.
To be shirtless before the game? Yeah, leave that to David Njoku.
Yeah, exactly. But then to go lay an egg, that's the worst part. Like, okay, you do that, like you better play your ass off.
Yeah, no question.
I think that's so frustrating.
No, and Ohio State, like
that's just what college football is. It's all the theatrics.
It's all theatrics, and I get it. Like, like I don't want to be like Scrooge here. But anyways, talking about the island games, which I wouldn't mind if they ate up as much college football as possible, like put one on Friday night. But Chiefs, Texans. I think this game was a perfect example of a team that's been there a bunch and a team that hadn't been there at all. And I think CJ Stroud's going to be one of them ones, dude. Like I really do. I've been on that train since the beginning. He did not play well in this game. I mean, there were moments in this game where he did not play well. And I think overall, the guy on the other sideline, and Patrick Mahomes, who has not played his best football this year, was ready for these moments. That team was ready for the moments. They're surgical on first and second down. If they're in third and medium or short, they're going to get you. It feels like they're opening the offense up a little bit, which I thought was really interesting when you move Joe Thuney out to left tackle, which to me is a real net positive. I think they make a decision inherently that says, yeah, we might lose some of the bruising 4 yards in a cloud of dust that we can generate with the guys inside consecutively, Thuney, Creed, Smith. When you move Thuney out to left tackle, what you're saying is, let me protect the straw that stirs the drink. We're going to have to throw the ball this year in the playoffs, and it just got too damn chaotic with those guys outside. So moving him outside, I don't know if it's a coincidence or if it's a game plan thing against Houston, but I felt like, and maybe it's Hollywood Brown coming back, but Worthy is a centerpiece now. Brown, they used him on third and fourth down. They hit him outside the numbers. I think this. I'm a lot more encouraged about Kansas City's offense, having seen what they look like the other day. Having said that, I still have worries about their defense. Their defense, they got the best coordinator in the league. They're going to find a way to be competitive, but when you get in these playoff games, a shot or two, an explosive or two can change the whole thing. Having said all that, in this game, they were the team with the championship DNA, and the Texans were not. The Tank Dell injury lost them the game. Okay, I'm not saying that they would have gone and beat the Chiefs, but it felt like when he went down, accompanied by the Lawson injury, the Jimmy Ward injury, that was the only guy that was really giving Kansas City a lot of trouble, and the emotional toll that seeing his injury up close took on those guys. Fairbairn went right out, missed an extra point. They get a gift stopping Kansas City on fourth down. It's 17-16 at midfield before the half, I think. Was this before the half?
Yes.
And this is a perfect example of the Texans not being ready. This is your possession. You don't know when the moment is in the NFL. But the moment's fucking coming at some point in the game. And if you want to win this motherfucker, you got to take advantage of it.
Yep.
And to me, it's always the middle eight. But it's right before the half, coincidentally here, where one of your best players goes down.
Yeah.
Right after the half. One of your best players go down. And you have to now convert and go score and take control of the ball game. Here's what they did. They ran the football for 1-2 yards. They botched the screen to Nico Collins.
Yep.
Where you can see the frustration, and then Schultz drops a ball. That's a conversion. You're in plus territory. They're not ready. There was another one where I think CJ threw a pick on like 3rd and 30 or something, or 3rd and 20. Listen, I know you don't like the call that led to it. I know that Titus Howard didn't get the fucking snap count. and there's a guy on you right away. But in that moment, just live to fight another day. They just weren't ready. Yeah. And they'll be there eventually. But this is a team that hasn't been together long enough, and now they've lost a lot of guys.
I was going to ask you and Beau if you guys ever been a part of a situation or a game where something like an injury in the middle of a game had guys like
Carson, man,
like had guys emotional, like they were clearly on the field. And also, it's just
I was thinking about you when that happened. This is a perfect you topic. Take it away.
It's just hard to think about like guys having to like move that aside. Like you see CJ Stroud, there was like 3 guys that were like legitimately, like you can tell like they're like friends or like they're like cool with Tank Dell enough that they immediately were in tears. It's like you're on a football field thinking about.
He also dislocated his knee. I don't know how it looked down there.
And that's what I was saying too. Like I've never been a part of a situation where I've seen an injury and I'm just like, oh, this is like heartbreaking for this person. I know them, but on top of it, it's so gruesome that I'm in tears. And then you have to shut that all off and try to play a football game.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't imagine how hard that was for guys. And it's like, usually if you have emotion like that, it's something that's at the end of a game or guys maybe right before a game. Like, you see guys like tearing up or thinking about stuff, getting ready to play. Your adrenaline's pumped up. But like in the middle of a game to have that type of like emotion for a sad situation, I couldn't imagine like, I like sitting there, you're just like, oh, they're going to lose this game.
And listen, I felt the same way, but again, they still had their chances, and it just comes down to locking in and knowing when the moment is and saying, hey, this is the moment. It's 17-16. If we can go down the field here, this would be a big statement win for us. This team's lost Diggs. They've lost Dell. I don't know what their playoff outlook is, but I still think they got a fast defense. They got some guys. When Alshire gets back, they're going to be able to.
It's crazy.
CJ's pretty good. If CJ can win a damn playoff game, that'd be a big one for him.
Especially with thinking about his starting wide receiver core versus what he has now.
Now it's just
like he had Diggs.
It's a lot of dinking and dunking.
He had Dell. He had Collins to start out. All these guys, and now all he has is Collins to work with, and it's just guys on that team. You just got to look at it as, hey, next man up.
Got to get the run game going.
Yeah,
Mixon has to be a big part of what they do going forward. And so, he hadn't. The Dolphins kind of shut him down.
You kind of know if you shut him down,
going.
Like you're going to make that team. Like it's going to be hard for that team to
now even more so.
Even more. Yep.
And you can man them up. Like with Tank, I'm nervous about going man, and you see why. But it's just who did the Texans probably get? We talked about this on the way over. They're probably going to get
whoever's second place in the AFC
Baltimore,
North.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah, whoever's second place in the North is.
And you saw how the Baltimore game went last year,
right?
And honestly, the offense was a lot more impressive last year going to the playoffs than it is right now. They really, and you said it, they have not put together a 4-quarter football game in eons.
Yeah,
So this is the. And some of us got out over our skis. I thought they'd be better this year. This is the learning curve that for a team, for a quarterback, no one's immune to, I guess. It's tough.
We might see a preview of that game this week. Week 17 sees the Texans against the Ravens on Christmas Day. The Chiefs also play the Steelers on the other.
And they're only like a field goal favorite or a 4-point favorite. They're on the road at Houston.
Let me check.
That was a little surprising. That was a little surprising to me.
5.5.
Oh, it's surprising to the Sharps as well. Anyways, so then the Ravens, who come out and what's crazy to me is the first time these two teams played, it felt like every possession mattered. Yep. Came down to a bunch of field goals. It came down to it just felt like one of those defensive football games, and then they play again, and it's all explosives and sloppy shit.
Right.
And it's willy-nilly with the football, like Russell Wilson carrying the football like a loaf of bread in the damn Al, you out?
Out.
Great seeing you, bro. You got anything to say to the chat? This is your shining moment.
Let's go Wahoos.
Yeah, go Who's. Go Who's. Fact Senior. He's one of my favorite people on the planet.
The whole chat was saying when he was sitting there, he was like, "Damn, Fax has a brother."
Right, he looks young. You hear that? They said you look like Dr. Fax's brother.
That's okay. I just turned 66 last week.
66
Hey, congratulations!
years old.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday, bro.
God bless you.
Love you, man. Good to see you.
Next time you could tell this story. The chat said they want to know the story about the border.
The chat's
The chat want to know about. Yeah, I come sit down. You gotta get me lit first.
okay. We're gonna get you. This off season. We're gonna do a whole Al Collins pod. Anyways, Nate's going downstairs.
We'll keep her right here.
So I the damn Ravens, they're in a really explosive form right now, and the defense is playing a lot better since they moved Hamilton to safety. It's just kind of that simple, I feel like.
Yeah.
But again, this game for a series that's been marred with like ugly, low scoring games at times, to see it was almost like the defenses were just they were fucking around out there.
Yeah.
And it all came down to, in my opinion, Russell Wilson fumbling that football in the red zone. They had a real opportunity to keep this thing, kind of in phase for them. The question now is, what's the damn Steelers ceiling? Because, we've given them a lot of praise this year, but we always say it's not who you play, it's when you play them. And right now is a good time to play the Steelers. Now, they got their backs against the wall this weekend playing the Chiefs. You're going to see their best shot. This is a classic Tomlin spot maybe. But it's hard to reconcile that watching them right now.
Yeah.
And, I think Pickens will help when he gets back and everything. But the problems I see are on defense at times.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And especially in this game, like you referenced the explosives coming into the game. The Ravens, they averaged 12 explosive plays per game. In the 2 games, they failed to score 20 points. It was the Steelers' first matchup, and then the Eagles. They had 9 and 10 explosives respectively. This game, they hit that 12 mark again, put up 30 points, and I think, but it's kind of like the secondary. It feels like with the Steelers, it's like they haven't been able to find in that first matchup. It was Mark Andrews versus Minka. They were winning that one. In this matchup, Zay Flowers, completions all over the place.
I don't know that JPJ's like a shutdown guy.
Right.
I think he's a good player.
Yeah.
I like Joey Porter Jr.
Yeah.
But
there's tiers.
There are tiers of there's like the Surtain tier, and then there's like some other corners. And he's not in that tier. The rushers have to get home, and obviously TJ Watt on a bum wheel and everything.
Right.
They ran away from a lot.
Yeah.
But the Steelers they're just not quite fully formed. It just feels like they're not quite fully formed.
Yeah, and I think offensively, what you've seen these last 2 weeks is, and what's been concerning to me is kind of the fragility of that group without Pickens in the lineup.
Yeah.
Because even, let's say he's healthy this week and he's in the lineup, the Chiefs are going to, McDuffie's, that's the matchup McDuffie's going to get. They're going to have safety help over the top.
Yep.
Just take him out of the game.
Yep.
So yeah, it feels like, I think you're right. I think this is a Tomlin spot coming Wednesday, but they do feel like they're kind of, the wrong trajectory.
No question. No question. Now the Ravens, they're going the other way.
Yeah.
Ravens look great. Ravens have, a guy that you could easily claim is the best quarterback on the planet right now as well. The way I'm talking about Josh, like those two guys, they're unbelievable. Any chance I get to talk about how lucky we are, sometimes you grow up watching certain quarterbacks and you think, oh, it's never going to be the same. That's nostalgia talking. Okay, the guys we get to watch now are that and then some because they're very entertaining.
Yeah.
Not that Brady and Manning weren't entertaining, but I kind of like seeing the circus that is Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson and Mahomes, and the game has changed.
Yep.
And so with it has been what the goats are gonna be different. This era's goats are different, and I'm sure glad we have Lamar and Josh, man, and Patrick Mahomes, and we're just so lucky. And then you see this quarterback draft class. They're gonna look back at this draft class and say, "Oh, that was really good."
Yep.
I'm just telling you, because Jayden Daniels is a stud. We've been saying that all season. A lot of people said, "Hey, just wait till he hits that rookie wall." Well, he did, and now look, and he's not throwing to wall. He ain't throwing to an all-star team out there.
And his rookie wall, low key, might have been broken rib.
I think it was a rib. I think
it might have been broken rib.
He is that dude, bro.
No,
he is that dude.
The Commanders have a commander. He's a commander.
He is a commander-in-chief.
He's like a real commander out there.
Is it commander and chief or in chief?
I think it's in chief.
In chief.
What the fuck does that mean? Pause.
It's just like
So and then you've got Drake May, who's shown a lot of signs of being a franchise quarterback. And
is
Caleb
is JJ in their class? The one that we didn't see.
McCarthy. Yeah, we haven't seen McCarthy play.
Yep.
And then Caleb, I'm just gonna tell you because hey, listen, maybe you should trust me on Caleb. He's gonna be okay. I told you he wasn't going to be the best quarterback in the draft class. So far, not so, right? But he's going to be fine. Mm-hmm. He's going to be fine. Like, really, the ball placement was all over the place at times.
He's got 3,000 yards, man. He's like the 6th leading passer for the Bears in a season.
I know, but that's like being – that's – I don't want to – that's like being –
the smartest kid on the short bus.
Yes.
You're saying.
Well –
Yeah.
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 Hey.
I get what you mean, Chris.
What do you mean?
Like,
yeah. What do you mean by
talent
that?
is there, all right? He's had some flashes. Right?
No, I think he's going to be fine. So the point is, you're looking back at this whole class. I bet the class is going to be pretty fun too. So, should we? My apologies to the rest of the games. Because I'm not. We're not going to talk a lot about the rest of the game.
Real fast for the Texans, they just picked up Deontay Johnson off waivers.
Oh, interesting.
So hopefully, a little help.
Maybe he'll torpedo that whole organization. It's just. I hope it works out, man. And maybe this is the break that he needs, because he's going to be needed, like big time. And maybe that's what it is.
What do you think he's doing? Like when he got in there, what is he just saying? Like, yo, like, where's my package? Or what's happening?
I don't know the man.
I don't know.
I know, but like
it's really confusing.
I'm saying like you have to do a lot. I feel like you have to do a lot to get the coverage, or like to have coaches outright like talking the way they are about you in the media. And it's just one of those things too. You know he's
the Tomlin
talented.
Thing was kind of damning.
It's kind of crazy, but you know he's talented. The fact that even after those statements, he's still getting a shot.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what is it that's going on with you right now that is just like, it's turning people off like from you. But I'm always for the players, and hopefully he can get.
I'm for the players too, and it really does pain me every time his name comes up to be like, oh, yeah, you know, like, because I don't want to be unfair to a guy, like I don't know the man, yeah. but it seems like there's just always been some bullshit, and you know, in Pittsburgh, there were games that I used to watch. I had their win total every damn year.
And Pittsburgh is a team too that a lot of bullshit goes on, so you have to have a lot of bullshit.
Well, no,
lot yourself for them to be like, you know what?
Like, well, you just can't be anything less than great. Yeah. Like if you're great and you know you're bringing some extra baggage to the dance, like no problem. Tom will work around you. But you know, he's a good player, man. He's had some good years. He's had 1,000-yard year before. Like he's a bona fide NFL wide receiver, but. You know, yeah, you just got to find a way to stick. And, like, this is the Hail Mary that they desperately need to hit on. You know, he's not going to be Tank Dell. They're going to use him differently. But when he was at his best, he's a plus. Mm-hmm. But he would just make a lot of boneheaded plays, you know, where it's just like, oh, the Steelers receivers are doing this again? Mm-hmm. Remember they played Minnesota a couple years ago on, like, in prime time? I had the flu, and I had to watch. I just sat there and watched. And it was like the wide receivers – We gave out a mention for worst flight after that game
because the
Tomlin was
going
to kick all the wide receivers out of the moving plane. You know what I mean? Oh, by the way,
Claypool celebrated after that the 2 minute.
Yeah, when he got the first down, the clock was running, and his center came over and yelled at him.
But Bo, by the way, do you know we might have to go train to do the jump? So we might have to do training jumps.
See, I told you.
What'd you say?
I told you it sounded absolutely asinine that like you're just going to show up and they're going to let you just jump out of plane. And you were like, no, yeah, that's how it's going to be. And you're like, I'm not connected to anybody. Like, no way. Like, that's legal.
I know, but I don't know. Now I don't know about jumping 5 or 6 times. I'm all about probability.
Hey, you got to get the reps in. Come on, Chris.
And those times you're jumping 5 or 6, you're probably going to be strapped.
I don't think
Chris
so.
is like, we're talking about practice? We got to practice.
Honestly,
well, yeah, but when
in your
practice
mind,
can kill you.
Yeah, so why do you think that at least one of those times of you jumping out of an airplane, you are not going to be connected to somebody?
Well, maybe one of those times, but not. Yeah, I didn't even know about those times until yesterday. And now I feel like
I was trying to explain.
Listen,
now I'm not
you
so
have,
sure.
You have more information on this whole thing than
I'm trying to arrange a call this week between.
I woke up this morning. I was like, "Yeah, I'm going on the pod with Chris today." My mom was like, "Oh yeah, are you guys jumping out of that plane still?" And I was like, "Yeah, I guess."
Well,
I don't fucking
it
know.
kind of depends on the phone
it.
call this week that you and I get on. Talk about the details of
the deets.
Yeah,
you know, because I don't know. I kind of had it in my head. Just
Chris,
do it once. What could go wrong?
you got to do it. If you don't do it, you hate the troops, man. It's that simple.
You got to be fucking kidding me.
That simple.
Why would you say that? That's crazy.
He's the one who hates
Have
the
fun.
troops.
Yeah.
He was all, him and
Have fun.
Kelsey were like, everybody hurry up. It's taking too long to get up top Kilimanjaro. Seriously.
Oh, dude, that
That.
was funny. Kelsey and I were screaming at each other. Remember? That was good.
Bunch of troops in front of them. They're like, hurry up.
Like Chris was like, "Nah, pole. All right, I've done this shit 8 times. It's not that hard." Okay.
Okay.
I don't know. Connor Barwin smoked it.
Okay, get out of here.
But you know, CB's
Can't
such a
all
cool guy. You
be-
can't even be mad at him for smoking it.
We can't all be the Walter Payton Man of the Year. All right.
Oh, here we go. Get it.
All right.
We get it. You know, guy does a lot of charity. All of a sudden, he's a fucking target.
Yeah.
You know?
I was trying to
Crazy.
back out. You know, Walter Payton Man of the Year wouldn't back out of an event like this.
I'm sorry. An event like this usually comes with
Not
details
my
like,
Walter.
hey, you're not just jumping out of an airplane once, you're jumping out of it 8 times, which increases your chances of getting maimed or being deceased like
they were
tenfold.
doing it back in the day on D-Day. You know, they were both.
Do you think those guys
Well,
had
like-
practice jumps?
Yes. Yes.
I think one practice rep is good.
Yes, I do.
Get one practice rep. Just to get the feel.
Yeah.
The feel.
You know, it's like inside run. You only do it in camp, you know, and then you're ready.
Yeah, but here's
you
the
go.
thing. I don't need to practice for inside run. It could be 7 a.m. There's something innately that exists in me where it's like, let's do inside run.
I fucking miss it.
I don't have a forehead bruise yet. It's 9 a.m.
Yeah.
I miss inside
Bro,
run.
I miss inside run too. There was something about knowing that we're about to have a period where the running backs just had to run in these 3 fucking holes.
Oh, it's
right
like
here.
Oklahoma.
It was so great. And it's just like for me, like I'm like, yo, I'm about to tee off on this fucking center.
Nothing makes you feel manlier than fucking forklifting a tight end, knowing
I was just gonna
knowing
say.
knowing its power, and just being like, "Poof, come here, bitch!"
Yeah,
and then the guard, and then
Or-
the big guard, you just make a fucking pile.
Or in that
on a-
A gap,
on a
holding up
tight
a
end, dude.
right, holding up a double team when you just have the center just fucking hemmed up.
You missed
And
that
then
shit.
And then that guard is just doing everything to push.
And the
you.
backers back
And then
there
you
like
feel-
not doing anything.
No, but no.
Double
and when
team
you have
doesn't
a
come
good-
off.
When you have a good backer, you feel that fucking backer come down on that guard.
you
while
can make the
still,
play.
While you still have that
Yeah,
center.
yeah.
Yeah. That
No, now we're
that's
just
so
washed
good.
up. We don't do inside run
Right.
anymore.
No more.
We jump out
inside
of
run.
planes now.
Yeah. But the
Oh,
point
boy.
is, I could just do inside run. I don't need to warm up. All right.
Ted in the chat real fast said that he brought up a great point. He said the jump is cake, the landing is what kills you. So
That's a
you'll be
great
fine.
point. That's a
the
great
jump's going to
point.
be fine.
That's a great point.
yeah. You just have to be worried about the landing. So just
Makes
jump
you
out
feel
of
a
a
lot
truck.
better.
a bunch.
Yeah, but if you land, if the chute is open,
Oh, the jump's easy.
I'm okay with whatever happens if the chute is open. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You might have to start zinning again for that jump. Man.
I am zinning a little bit.
You might have to up that dosage.
No, I'm done up in the dosage. We're at 12 milligrams a day.
Come on.
Also,
It's New Year's coming around. Just give it up. Just give it
Zins?
up. Now. Yeah, just give it up.
Well, it's
now.
not New Year's yet. Hey, by the way, one more thing. I just want to say this.
Ooh.
I got this T-shirt in the mail. I'm still riding with the fucking Slim Reaper, dude. It's still my favorite player. You're still the guy we want to get the ball on 3rd down with the game on the line, bro. You're gonna get it again.
We're gonna need him.
We're gonna need you, bro. We love you here at the Green Light Pod.
Love the way he stood up.
Bro, he's a fucking adult.
You know what's crazy? When you see him do the media, and you just wonder, you're just like, dang, like everyone, like, can everyone just get media trained like that?
He's not media trained. He's just an adult.
I guess
that's not media training. That's just he has
just
character.
A reasonable human being.
He has character.
I feel you.
Like somebody along the way, like a coach was like, "Hey man, like
that should be on everyone's teach tape. It's just like, yo, like how to deal with a big moment, a big impactful moment, like how to talk to the media, how to not piss off your fans, how to not piss off your organization, how to not seem a certain way after such a big play, and like a play that realistically has a lot of implications.
Nobody cares more than that guy.
No,
so if you're sitting at home and you're like, I care more, I promise you, you don't. And so that's what came through is like, hey man, this is deathly serious to me.
Yep.
It hurts that I dropped it, but I'm moving forward because they're going to need me again in the next moment. And I'm not going to be up here like sad sacking trying to make you feel bad for me. It just is what it is. There's nothing I can do to undo it.
Real fast before we get to our
MRP.
theorems, we got to pick our MRP. This was from the Bucs-Cowboys game. So we've got Bruce Gradkowski. He's up there. He was nominated for a previous team. I remember him being in the comments. We've got Neil O'Donohue.
What is that picture? Is like someone blocking his punt, or like what's going on?
It looks like this. It looks like yeah.
Oh,
one guy's blocked. He's getting blocked and launched into the air.
But is he gonna block the punt?
I don't know what he's gonna do. J.R. Sweezy.
J.R. Sweezy, he was
I love Sweezy.
Yeah, Sweezy was a D lineman at NC State, and then he ended up being kind of a enforcer type guard for the Seahawks. Tom Cable's group. He was a perfect fit for that group. Bert Emanuel, 2 first names.
Bert.
Sean King. Not to be confused with the guy on Twitter who disappeared. He is the quarterback for the you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah. The white black dude.
Styles White. Gaines Adams, God rest his soul, man. Jeez. That's crazy.
Roy Williams, the safety, not the wide receiver.
Yep. Joe Jaravicious. That's a good one.
That's a great one.
Mike
Dat Win.
Yeah, that's a good one. Carl Nix. Martin Gramatica, we're getting a little bit. Brian Greasy. Okay, this is taking me a while here. Ryan Jensen's a pretty good one.
Kyle Orton.
Look at Bo's face. Because Ryan Jensen used to
comment.
get after him at practice and push him late.
The reason I get mad at Jets is because I would be out in Tampa. This happened in Minnesota.
No, they call you Jensen.
Butter. People call me Jensen.
You're much better.
Ryan Jensen, like, I love the way you play. Like, bro, what? So like Cam, Bray, Griff, they would all fucking like people would be talking to Cam like, hey, like, love the Bucs. He'd be like, oh, you like the Bucs? Like, let me introduce you to Ryan Jensen. I'd be like, dude, you fucking asshole.
That's so funny. That's so funny. You know,
I'm so excited for at the Super Bowl when Ryan Jensen and LeGarrette Blount join the podcast.
Yeah, it's gonna be amazing.
We
should do a pod with Ryan Jensen and LeGarrette Blount. Not because we said it, because other people said it. Kyle Orton's a good one, but
it's me and Nate.
Can I tell you a story about Kyle Orton when he played for your Broncos? I think I told you this story, but like I sacked him at the end of the game and closed it out. And after the game, I came up to him and I was like, bro, great game. He's like, thanks, man. You too. And I was like, man, I love you on drunkathletes.com. Because there was this picture of him in a limo with a bottle of Jack. Fucking, do you guys remember drunkathletes.com? This is before.
I think I missed it.
This is like early internet. This is before
like Newgrounds.
the Waffle Fries video that started, Vines.
Isn't Drunk Athletes that's where?
I wonder if it's still
famous,
up.
Was that famous Jay Cutler cigarette picture was on there, right?
Yeah, I think so. But he wasn't as proud of his moments on drunkathletes.com as Jay Cutler was. He kind of looked at me and just walked away.
like you.
He was kind of like,
frat
"Fuck
boy,
you, dude!
Right?
You fucking
this picture,
you son of a bitch."
This one.
Yeah, look, he's got the goose. He's getting loose with the goose. Now look at the one. He's in the car.
Is this him?
He's got the Jack Daniels.
Oh, Deadspin. That was another good.
This one?
Is Deadspin still a thing?
Like the whole internet is Deadspin.
Thank God
Jesus
Deadspin's not a
Christ.
thing. Is Deadspin gone?
No, not thank God. Think about it. You only had to worry about just like one site before
Deadskin
back in the day.
Scares me. They're a bunch of like hacker type dudes. And honestly, I just didn't think it was I didn't think it was above board to post my brother's junk on the internet. Like it was very tabloidy of you. But you know, I don't know if they're around anymore. Okay.
Aurelius Ben.
Oh, I didn't pick one. Chris
Lucky
Conte,
Whitehead.
that's a good one. Chris Conte's a good one. It hadn't been a while. It's been a while.
Chris, that was my old teammate.
All right. You guys pick today. I can't pick. I have decision fatigue. That's what I told somebody inside the NFL. They were like, "What do you want to do in the B block?" I was like, "I have decision fatigue." That is a great
Joe
thing.
Jaravish is
I was gonna say it has to be
Rogers?
Joe J.
Joe Jaravicious.
Yep.
Yeah.
Rogers
Yeah,
threw
okay.
that bomb
That works.
on Conti's head.
Yeah, he did.
They were mad in Chicago.
You know, you can say decision fatigue in your personal life. You can kind of use that. Like, hey, I have decision fatigue. You just make the decision. That's an empowering thing to say.
Oh yeah.
When you
Not when it's
when it's
you have to-
spousal,
yeah, and you have to pick food. It is not.
I have
Try
decision
that.
fatigue. Try it.
You try.
Have you said decision? Oh, I try it all the time.
While trying to pick food for you and the fam?
I have decision fatigue. Say it. Say it in the mirror. Practice it a couple times. It will open doors in your life that you had no idea were there.
No, all that's gonna get me is the meal that I hate that I hate the most.
Well, then
On
that's
the table.
Well, that's
Probably.
straight. That's what Grubhub's for.
Let's real fast.
Make sure you tip.
Real fast. Let's hear from our friends at Airbnb and Dr. Fax.
What's up, Greenlight fans? It's your boy Dr. Fax, and I want to talk to you about Airbnb. Me and the Greenlight crew, a few years ago, we stayed at Airbnb for the Super Bowl in Arizona, and it was absolutely immaculate. It had a huge cactus in the backyard, had a pool, had enough room for everybody, way better than a hotel. And then recently, just purchased a house with my girl, and we found out that we can be hosts. And your house might be worth more than you think, and you can find out at airbnb.com/host.
I think Beau went to play like Dungeons and Dragons or something. He's gone. He had to leave today.
He had to leave. He has a meeting with a house person in like 5 minutes.
Oh, who the
Cabinets.
fuck
Apparently, there's a very
cares,
famous
dude?
cabinet maker that he.
I
needs
think
to meet
it
with.
was a smoke break.
Yeah, probably. Probably. That's what I get blamed for every time I walk off set and take a piss. All right, here we go. Jake Thornton says, Chris, do you want to jump out of this plane? Chris, I have decision fatigue. All right. So here's the deal. We're going to hit the flyovers. Cleveland, Cincinnati.
Bengals not cooked.
Bengals not cooked, bro. Hey, Reed.
Plus 450 to make the
Reed.
playoffs.
Oh boy.
How you feel? How you feel?
Oh, we feel terrible. This sucks. We were talking. We know how this ends. It's going to be a blowout on was it Saturday?
Yep.
And then we're going to lose on some fluky shit to the Chiefs.
Well,
and
the problem is the Chiefs are probably not going to be playing hard.
it won't matter.
Well, here's what if us Bengals fans, we're rooting for the Steelers this week, right? Because then the Steelers knock the Chiefs out, and the Chiefs then have to play really hard week 18. They probably rest everybody, dude.
But like
But Carson Wentz, though.
but
Right,
when you-
that's
when
why-
you- when you rest everybody,
I don't wanna
Carson
bank
Wentz is going to
on
be
that.
like, hey, Bo Nix, have you ever been an MVP candidate?
Right. I have.
Let me show you something.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
like, is that Carson Steele and Hunt still running the ball, or is Steele like starting?
I'm
Like,
sure
they still have-
Alligator Man's going to get a lot of carries in
Yeah.
a game like that.
Yeah.
I bet you the offensive line plays like the first quarter or half or something like that. I don't know, but maybe we don't even have to get there if the Broncos just take care of business against the Bengals this weekend.
Boy, am I happy that that bet is over.
It's unbelievable that we could have been playoff bound if not for one damn field goal. Just one guy just waiting one extra little push or one like little thing. Just we're playoff
Very
bound.
true.
And the
What do you
Bills.
think the Bengals could say?
Yeah, that's true.
If we didn't do these 17 things at the end of games this year, we'd be like a fucking
the Joe stat you were asking for.
Yeah,
this is from ESPN. He's the first quarterback in NFL history to throw for 3+ TDs and 250+ yards in 7 straight games, surpassing the previous record of 6 set by Tom Brady in New England's undefeated 2007 season.
That is why I fought so hard for this team not to be on the grill.
Damn.
You want to know why? It's because the offensive efficiency that these cats have played with has been crazy. If not for the fact they just found ways to lose every damn game and the defense has been awful. Now, this week, what's the status of Riley Moss?
He's trending towards playing. He was like, they were going to try to get him up for last week's game, but he couldn't make it. So what would you do? Would you throw Pat on Jamar and Riley on T, or would you do the Belichick thing?
I do the Belichick thing.
1 double 85.
I like the Belichick thing. I like the Belichick thing. But if T's not, what's up with T? Because he left yesterday with the damn ankle.
Yeah.
Did he return to that game? That was a moment in a slate full of games that, a lot of people might not have seen, but he ended up rolled up on.
Mm-hmm.
He did return to the game.
He returned
after.
Okay. So his status is straight.
Yeah.
We hope.
Should be good.
Okay, so if those guys are all at full strength, I would do the Belichick model. I figure.
Like, is there going to be a possibility for them to keep T. Higgins, or is it just not going to work because he just needs to get paid? Like, it's not going to work, or are they going to work it out?
I don't know. Burrow's pretty adamant about them working it out.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, is he going to mess with his contract? Like, can you do that in NFL? Like, is it like basket?
Can you take a pay cut to move? You can take a pay cut to move things around. You can convert some money and
Well, Joe Burrow.
But I don't want to talk about that stuff.
Yeah.
Because
It probably can't keep both.
We'll end up looking
like
stupid.
Chase, but
Okay.
But the whole thing is, I think it'd be fun to see Surtain on T. Higgins, bigger body, and then but who knows? Who knows? Here's what I worry about: the damn edges wrecking the game, the Broncos' edges wrecking the game, and Burrow not being able to operate. Now, they did a pretty good job from what I saw yesterday of not letting Miles completely wreck the game. He did have what I think is 100th sack yesterday in the game. Which it's a big damn deal, dude. So some people look at that number their whole careers like staring up at it like, oh, that'd be cool. It's just like, oh, man, like 6-7 years in my career, hundo. He really does have a shot with the way he's built. You think about like the fragility of an NFL body. Like, there was a point in my career where my body didn't have it anymore, and I was still out there playing, but it was just like, you're done. Like, I'm a big guy, but, like, I ain't that. Myles Garrett is he's a mountain, dude.
Bro.
Just the way he's probably going to age in the NFL, he might have a shot.
Yeah.
Might have a shot.
He was the youngest player in
Bruce
history to
Smith.
reach that.
What was Bruce?
200.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
200.
That how many is he at now all time?
100.
Oh, he's at
He
100.
just got to 100.
100.
So
And he's averaging about what?
and he's played on the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
Okay. Bro, the guy is unbelievable. And yeah, if I had to guess, like, he's probably going to age pretty well. Like, there's just the bone density on a cat like that.
They got to get him.
You know what I mean?
He has to get on the Florida team though.
What? Yeah.
To help the density in the bones and the joints and everything, work it out.
Is that how it works with the vitamin D?
Like, I mean,
the vitamin D?
the old
Maybe it
people
does.
That they all go down to Boca Raton and all those places.
That's where
because
Kyle
of-
is now.
because of their bones and stuff. Once you
That's
get a
why
little
Kyle went
older.
down there. Kyle was like, man, my bones are getting skinny hanging out in this green light studio. I got to go work for CBS full time.
Tell you what, when you wake up down there right now, like them joints
feel
when you
good.
wake up right now when it's cold up here, they're
Yeah.
nice and loose
No,
when
lubricated.
you're in Florida.
But I guess the whole point is, this is going to be a huge, huge game this weekend. And Cowboy Reed, I think we should have a camera on you for the entire game.
We can
what,
do
what
it.
time is that game?
I believe it's the 4 o'clock window.
It's in the 4 o'clock window. Might get overshadowed by who they just flexed into the 4. They flexed Green Bay and
This is Saturday.
oh, this is
Yeah.
Saturday 4 o'clock.
We get
Oh,
an island.
island game, dude.
Yeah.
Why
Where
don't
are we
go
going to watch this game?
Huh?
Where are we going to watch this game?
The bar we were talking about earlier. Let's go to Dirty.
I don't know about going there.
Okay.
It's hard to watch the damn game, especially if we're going to say right now we're going to Dirty.
Yeah,
Nelly's.
true.
You know,
Why don't we say
Chris-
we'll go to
Chris-
Dirty Nelly's and then
go to what you call. Chris never wants to go there. What I'm
Where?
going to say.
Where?
I think it's a great atmosphere. You will like it.
Oh, no, it's not that I don't want to go to Lazy Parrot. It's just probably very crowded.
It's new. It has so many TVs, so many sets up. You can be anywhere, bro.
I have so many TVs at home and
That is
no
true.
strangers.
That is very true. That is so true.
Nothing like trying to watch the game over a story about what I did in Little League. You know what I mean? I love people,
We're getting
but I'm
trash
trying to watch
talk
the
about
damn game.
softball.
What are they saying? That somebody beat us in softball?
No, wasn't that where we met the guy over the mountain? He's like, I play for Pablo Sanchez, and I'm gonna kick your ass.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, you know, we're not that great at softball,
Yeah.
dude. Okay, next one, Cardinals Panthers.
Hero, SPL Memorial,
Okay, hit it.
Short King game. First NFL game with 2 quarterbacks starting under 5'10"
Since 1950.
since 1950.
Blazing their little trails.
Little tights.
That's like an evolution stat.
Yeah, dude, this is crazy.
Just
Yeah,
just little tykes.
yeah.
The points were tall though. Points
Yeah,
were
the
tall.
Points were tall. Short Kings points were plenty. Can't really give you too much with good authority on what
Chuba's
happened in
fighting
this game,
for that.
other than, James Conner at one point was like
The first half
Just
was the
running through.
James Conner show.
running through cats.
Yeah. Just putting dudes down. Hopefully he's okay.
How about the
with an
damn
injury.
Panthers, man?
They're going to ruin some people's seasons. They ruined the Cardinals season. They've got a shot to ruin the Falcons or the Bucs season. You know, if they
Playing both. Yep.
get it.
Yeah, you look at them at your schedule in September, and you're like, okay, and then now you're looking at
Check.
them, and you're like, okay,
Yeah.
Hey.
You know, you just never know with this group.
Chris Long looking at him for the Chris Long Foundation. You're like, okay.
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 Okay. So I don't know. We'll see, man. With the Panthers, what they do this offseason, but it's going to be exciting to see how they attack the roster.
Yep.
Like, you know, I don't trust the owner, but man, I'm pretty excited about what I've seen from the quarterback from a development standpoint. And it's going to be interesting to see, you know, where they lost some good players in free agency over the last couple of years, shedding assets and trying to acquire assets. Man, in the division they're in, you just never know.
Never
Right.
know.
You just never know. So
And
that's
hopefully he learned learned something from the
Impossible.
owner up north. Like maybe I bet you when he heard that Madden news and he was like, "Oh shit, I gotta throw out
dude,
my
how
player
about
ratings."
that? How
Wild.
about that?
It's nuts. That's fucking crazy, bro.
Not to say that Madden doesn't have some decent ratings for guys, but like
that is stupid. Like it's like that's like a bad business like move to like admit something.
I think Madden ratings are more reliable than PFF ratings.
Maybe,
I'm just telling you.
but it's just the optics and like
No, I know.
hearing like yo,
my
you're
gosh.
No, the whole thing. I'm not
Important
saying
decision
it's fucking
Yeah.
of
sound.
video game.
Ridiculous.
Dog. Dude, I saw like a whole thing about it, and the grandkids are involved, and
They're walking around
they
the-
look how you expect them to look, and
Yep.
they are involved, and they're gonna make a movie about the Jets. It's gonna be a dark comedy. Seriously.
There's
Bum,
ghosts.
bum.
Sam Darnold was right. There's ghosts up there, man, and the ghosts are doing crazy stuff.
Who's gonna play Aaron Rodgers in the Jets movie?
Zachary Levi.
God, you're good with this. I don't even know who the fuck that is, dude.
Yeah,
Zachary Levi.
You thought about this.
The guy who plays Shaggy in Scooby Doo.
What? Yeah, I could see it.
Zachary Levi. Man, you're good at this.
Nailed it, Reed.
I don't even know
Reed just said
I
that.
see people on screen. I don't know their names.
Yeah, me either.
You know what I mean?
Bad with
I
that.
will say it's not just the looks with Zachary Levi.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Does he do the Aya?
Yeah, not just that, but yeah, probably a little of that.
What else?
You know, crazy takes.
Crazy take.
Crazy takes.
Oh,
guy.
he's out there.
Yeah.
Crazy takes.
Yeah. But maybe the right takes, you know? Never know.
I just want to say this. Like, I've had some issues with some of the things that Aaron Rodgers has said. If I have a problem with Aaron Rodgers, it's not about the vaccine. I can promise you. Because you know who the first day said, no, I don't think I'm going to get the vaccine. And he's the most popular fucking guy in the world. Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
He was like America's sweetheart last year.
Yeah.
He's on the plane with the chains and everybody loves him. It's not about that. Let me just pop in just to give my 2 cents. I know I wasn't a Hall of Famer, so maybe I'm not allowed to give my 2 cents like on a podcast, but it's not all about that, right? Mm-hmm. I think that should be noted. However you feel about him, I don't think it's been a hit piece on him on this show. I mean, some things he says are wild, but to each their own.
To each their own.
They said if you watch his documentary,
I'm gonna watch his documentary.
You'll come out of it and you'll think, you know what, guys? Aaron Rodgers is a little misunderstood. I'm hearing a lot.
Am I gonna speak in that voice?
Yeah, because everyone's like, dang, I have to backtrack. I went in this being like, Aaron Rodgers, you're goofy. All this stuff is goofy. And then I've heard like plenty of people be like, I actually watched it and yeah, I understand.
Dude, everybody has a friend whose social media sucks. And they're like, man, if you just be around the guy, he's actually pretty cool. But their social media is awful.
It's awful.
And I think we've all been that guy at some point, whether it's on Facebook or Twitter or whatever. But like, there are different levels. There are levels to this.
Yeah.
And like, I just feel like when you hear his teammates talking about him, generally you hear good things.
Yeah, because
the times that I've met Rodgers, he was super cool. He was super cool to me.
That's a good analogy what you just said, because the tinfoil kid is usually cool.
I'm not saying the statements he make I agree with or anything like that.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, like, as to your point about the documentary, people are complicated. Mm-hmm. I try to take everybody at face value, not at face value, but like kind of just
documentary makers are getting really good too.
But the one thing I do want to say is, it ain't that when people are upset with you, it ain't the vaccine always, bro. That was a long time ago, and there are other guys that were like, hey, nah.
Yeah.
Like, and we love them.
Yeah.
So what's going on with that? It ain't the anyways.
Yeah.
Next flyover, Titans Colts. And this had some running.
Oh, what a bounce back game from one of my favorite players that helped me win that bet.
How about that? Like, bro, could you have done that a week ago when we were in it?
No, you couldn't have. No, he could have, but he chose not to. And I'm very, very grateful for this, because I don't have to sweat the Broncos for these last couple of games. But, Jonathan Taylor, 3 touchdowns, 218 on 29 carries. Great bounce back game. 335 yards.
335. That's wild.
That is how you quiet the noise after you make
all purpose or run or rushing yards.
The team rushing, yeah.
Team rushing.
Team rushing.
Yep.
335 team.
But do you know how fucking?
him and
do you know how embarrassing that is? Like, I know the
Just
Titans are out
volleyball.
of the playoffs, but like,
for a team that all year we've talked about their offense being the issue, but their defense kind of being stand up and like tough a little bit to get run on for 335 yards. That's a tough showing.
no question. Golly, let's keep flying.
Jags Raiders.
Let's keep flying.
That was a quick, just a pit stop there, and
We're flying over Vegas here. There seem to be 30,000 plus people watching Jaguars Raiders. I have no fucking idea why.
it's because
I have no idea what happened in the game. Over.
the Raiders, they have a tight end who's 10 yards shy of Mike Ditka's record.
Holy shit, that's Brock Bowers. I thought it was a 70-year-old man from up here.
Hey, listen, I can't clown the man. That guy is going to be an incredible football player. Already is.
Yeah, he is.
Like, bro, he is insane.
Yeah.
When there's some guys that you see as rookies. Some rookies take a while, or some rookies might look really good, and it's like fool's gold because of the situation they're in or something. There's some rookies you see, and you're just like, yeah, we're gonna know. My kids are gonna know who Brock Bowers is. They're gonna be talking about him in like 10 years. Like, he's gonna be one of the guys.
Wait till they get the quarterback.
And that's part of the problem, winning a game like that.
Right.
Did anybody check Shedeur Sanders' Twitter?
He did not tweet. Thank you, God. He did not tweet.
And did you? I don't know if you saw that.
Like, see what happens. Sometimes you speak things into existence. Didn't you see the viral moment like 2 weeks ago? I guess when they were at the Heisman ceremony, he was seen throwing passes with Malik Neighbors in the middle of the street in New York City.
I did not see that.
Yeah, so sometimes you might put things into the air.
Was that on TikTok?
And look now, the Raiders win a game and kind of lose you out of the grass as of now, unless they do some trading or you and Dion do some collusion.
How about the Raiders though? They had a really long, tough stretch of games. I know they haven't won a lot of games. Like, go back and look at their schedule this year. They've had a tough year. And
Devontae Adams was on that team at the start of the year.
I'll give you this. AP's got the guys playing hard, bro. Whoever's out there, they play hard. Yeah. Like, seriously. I mean, I know he might not be there forever. They might be talking about him right now upstairs. But
and as a fellow Wahoo, man, I'm happy to see that they didn't get rid of Snowden and he's still out there making plays.
Oh, they didn't get rid of him?
Yeah, he was making plays.
Not a great decision.
Not at all.
You can't be making those decisions.
But great.
The play to kind of knock them out of that number one draft spot. O'Connell's rolling to his left, just flings it up, and it's obviously a prayer. Hey, let's just knock it down. We're the Raiders. Knock it down. We want to preserve our number one. Amir Abdullah says, no way. Comes down with it, 3rd and 3. They drive for a touchdown. Yeah, Beautiful. Look at me. That was right after the Brian Thomas Jr. They tried to, let him free.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
So you know what happens now? Giants get the number one quarterback, and he's going to look terrible for a year. And then the second year, he's going to start playing well.
Okay.
And the other guy's going to flip-flop. It's the whole C.J. Stroud-Bryce thing.
Yep.
Remember the whole Lovie Smith Tank Gate thing?
Oh.
I think they both might be really happy with their guys at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm real bullish on quarterbacks, man. I just see potential with a lot of them.
Yep.
Now to the Niners-Dolphins game. Where even when a quarterback plays well for stretches, I can't get on board. But this is a game where and the Dolphins deserve a lot of credit, man. They have righted the ship this year. I don't care about their ceiling. What I see is like a group where the offensive line is back out there healthy, and they're able to run the fuck out of the football. They're able to protect Tua. Tua had time. And I think the Niners are just in this weird state where it's like a mushroom cloud. Seriously. I mean, it's like everything they've been through, all the injuries, just 10 too many.
You think Toyota?
And then up front, they're just not built that way anymore. And then you play Devin Achane, who goes for what do you go for? Does somebody have 120? I mean, it was
on 17 carries.
At times, it looked like they had no shot of getting them off the field. Now, Purdy, valiant effort, leaned on the screen game. Kittle was out there running around trying to run folks over. But there's just so many injuries on this team. And what it does is it makes it hard to evaluate the quarterback, and it makes it hard to evaluate the roster currently. That's the complication. It goes beyond missing the playoffs. It also makes it really hard to evaluate your plan going into an offseason that's huge for them.
And it hurts his negotiators and him at the negotiation table because it's
like booty right now.
Yeah, well, and
booty cheeks, and you want to get paid,
and
you buying cars right now. You buying people cars.
He didn't buy them the car.
I know.
I think Toyota bought the cars.
Toyota can't be happy.
I'm not trying to steal his thunder.
We just gave you 10 cars to give away, and you playing like booty cheeks. Y'all playing like cheeks.
Yeah.
He had him in a good spot.
Yeah,
the Dolphins kicked that.
Toyota-thon,
right?
The Dolphins kicked that field goal to go up 22-17, and then there's 2 minutes and 10 seconds left. Hey, Brock, let's see this 2-minute drive. Let's do it. He throws the pick, and then Achane closes the door with that touchdown run.
Dude, it's a tough deal. This is one of the hardest decisions that looms in the NFL this year.
Mm-hmm.
Period. I know there's some people that are just like, hey, no brainer, do it. We know what we know about situations, and we know what we know about when the situation's right. We just talked about it with Sam Darnold, who I think has more talent than Purdy. Purdy's done more for a sustained period of time, but you could call into question everything he's had around him, the way somebody in the chat's calling into question Sam Darnold. The point is, how well is the table going to be set next year? And if it's not going to be set that well, are you ready to make a big investment in the guy? Some people are like, full stop, yes. This is one of those things I don't know. I won't know until like a month after the season when I sit down for a week and look at Niners tape. I just can't say right now what I would do. And also, I just don't know what their plan is. Like, they might have an idea. They might have an ace in the hole. They might have some crazy move that they're planning to make. But today, December 23rd, I have no idea. I really don't. It's a tough decision. Tough one.
You brought up Toyota-thon. We're going to go to the actual Toyota-thon quarterback, Jordan Love, and preview that game in a second after we hear from our lovely friends at BetMGM.
Thanks to BetMGM and all you football fans. I want you to picture something. You bet your favorite player as first touchdown scorer, but he throws a block to send a teammate into the end zone, and you lost your bet, right? Wrong. With BetMGM's second chance promotion, you'll get your stake back if your first touchdown scorer scores second. Bet on any pro football player to score the first touchdown of the game. If you're right, you win. If your player scores second, you get your stake back in cash. Keep that in mind next time you throw in a first touchdown score bet with BetMGM. Happy hunting.
Oh my
BetMGM tweeted this out earlier. Jordan Love in his career, not during Toyota-thon, 3,829 yards, 29 touchdowns, 25 interceptions. During Toyota-thon, 3,283 yards, 26 touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
It's fucking Toyota-thon, isn't it? Right now?
Everybody know, yeah.
All right, and BetMGM, I don't know what they're doing, trying to grease us into playing the Packers, but I feel like that's what I'm going to do tonight. I mean, I feel like I'm going to.
Yeah.
How about a Beau Melton?
Oh, my God. I already bet it. I love hearing you say it. Man.
I knew you'd be on the Beau Melton.
I already have it on there. A Beau Melton anytime touchdown. I love that pick. I
also love the Packers' first half as well.
Okay.
I feel like that, at home, you're playing a team that you want to put away right now so you can get a rest on a short week. I worry about the backdoor cover for the Saints a little bit.
I'm a sicko.
Why?
Because I have, just in case, the Saints defense or special team first touchdown.
Got it.
It got a little bet in there.
Yeah.
For a little controversy for Green Bay.
A little controversy.
I think they're going to win this game handily, but
now I just want to throw this out there.
What do we do?
I don't want to rain on anyone's parade, but just a little nugget. Since 2003, double-digit favorites on Monday Night Football are 13, 32, and 2.
Yikes.
29%. 13, 32, and 2.
That's why you bet the first half.
The Packers are minus 14 tonight on BetMGM against the Saints.
That's why you bet the first. Also, LaFleur is really good on Monday night.
Mm-hmm.
Look that up. Mm-hmm. They're down Kamara. You're telling me Jake Haener is going to go up to Lambeau?
Spencer Rattler.
Or Rattler?
Yeah,
Either one.
Either one.
Better.
Yeah.
You think Spencer Rattler is going to go up there and, maybe the back door, but not the front door. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I kind of feel like the Packers want this thing over quick because they know what I know, which is that Minnesota is waiting. They're waiting. They're chilling already. Let's win the fucking game, win it in the first half, and then let's cruise. The Saints. Are they going to be able to stop this rushing attack?
No.
Are they going to be able to move the ball?
No.
Kamara's not on the field.
it's
the line of questioning that leads to heartbreak.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I went through this whole thing last night with the Bucs doing the favorite thing. Yeah, well, is Cooper Rush going to get through for 500 yards?
No chance.
What did I do with 7 minutes left to go in the game? Do you remember that?
Yep.
What did I do?
Dialed up the Madden machine.
Bro, he threw the pick to Jordan Lewis in the end zone, and I go, fuck this.
You guys can watch the game on the other TV.
Turn it on the other TV.
Divert the attention.
Yeah, and then I started playing Madden I just, and then I'm losing my Madden game because Baker Mayfield's starting to get, like we might.
And we've got Mike Tirico on the Madden game, and you're like, I've had enough.
I have had enough, Mike Tirico, dude. I don't need to. I don't. And then Chris is like, well, if you look back at him, he's gonna call it. Fuck. I'm all done.
Nate, to wrap things up, who you got for the viral moment of the week?
Facts viral moment of the week this week. It is going to my guy, Reginald Swigert, who won second place in a Josh Allen look-alike contest. And for people, if you can't see this picture, this is a black man who won second place in a Josh Allen quarterback football player look-alike contest. And I think it's just amazing.
I hope you're able to access all the great jokes that could come out of this.
I think the first place selection is absolutely spot on, but the second place is just so funny. And shout out to Reginald. I don't know what they won. Hopefully they got some tickets, but I hope Josh Allen meets these guys or they get some type of
I want to see the post-game interview with Reginald. How did you win it?
I'd like to see third place.
Yeah. What was third place?
Right? Oh man. This just was so funny to me, so I had
Me too.
That's great.
Shout out to Reginald, yo.
That's incredible.
Legend.
White people are going to complain about this too. First the Little Mermaid, and now Josh Allen's runner-up lookalike.
Being upset about the
Everybody knows the Little Mermaid's white. All mermaids are white.
Oh my god.
Fuck me. We get mad at some of the craziest shit.
Nuts.
Everybody.
Yeah.
It's just everybody's mad. I'm not mad.
I just found out that
Take a page out of my book. Do I seem happy today? I got my fucking guts kicked in last night by Vegas.
But guess what?
What?
Today's a new day.
It's a new day. Tonight's a new night.
It's a new night, guys. And guess what? I got a first touchdown pick for you.
Beau Melton.
Nah, we're not doing Beau Melton for the first touchdown. We're going to be smarter than that. We're going to be smarter than that, guys. And tonight, I'm actually...
Tucker Craft!
See that? Look, it's holiday time. Everyone probably needs a little extra money in their pocket. So if you want a short thing, Josh Jacobs. You know why? Because if he doesn't score the first touchdown, this is a game where he's probably going to score the second touchdown, so you get your money back. It's not a typical Dr. Facts pick, but hey, guys, tonight I think is a night. It's going to be heavy Josh Jacobs early and often, and I think he gets in, scores the touchdown.
That sounds, I think, anytime touchdown like the house. The house. I'm going to call my wife right now. Tell her, put in the house.
I don't recommend that to anybody. Nobody. I don't recommend the house.
The domicile.
Maybe like, I don't even know what this, mailbox. Maybe the mailbox.
We get in the car after the game. Why, Daddy, where are we going? This is our home now, and we're going to beat up Josh Jacobs.
Nah, I got the what you call it though.
Get in. We got to go all the way to fucking Green Bay. We're doing Christmas in Wisconsin. Get your ski masks.
You got the RV to fall back on, though.
What?
You got the RV to fall back on.
Josh Jacobs is going to be like, "You're the guy from the podcast." I'm like, wait, I was on your show. Stop. What the fuck, kids?
He's gonna send you to the gangs, and
I'm gonna have a fucking bar of soap and a sock. I'm just joking. Obviously, that's not how we handle losing bets in this great country. You blame yourself. It's your fault and only your fault. It's not the athlete's fault. It's your fault.
You lock yourself in the bathroom, you turn the shower on, and you cry a little bit.
No question.
Hey,
everybody hurts. Sometimes. I'm gonna get in the car and blast that motherfucker when I leave here.
Oh, quick! Oh, I forgot. Best seed. Shout out to Kingston on the beach, listening to the pod or watching the pod.
He ain't listening to the pod.
Yeah, he hasn't been in here all day.
All day. Wi-Fi is probably down. Wi-Fi is down.
I hope you're having a great time.
He's having a great.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's doing all right.
He's doing all right.
He's doing all right.
He's doing well.
Hey, thanks for being here today. Appreciate you. Happy holidays.
Thank you.
Happy holidays.
Yeah. Hey, chat. Happy holidays, and for those of you that celebrate this
Kwanzaa, Hanukkah,
Boxing Day.
Are there any pagan holidays?
Yeah, there is. Hold on.
Wow.
But I celebrate Christmas. Okay, and Christmas is coming up.
What was the thing that you used to do? Kwanzaa, like where there's just like no one's left out. Do you remember that?
Well,
You're too young for that. You're laughing so hard. It was like
the Adam Sandler thing.
Hanukkah's over.
They used to have like a commercial.
It's also Festivus today.
I don't know when Kwanzaa runs through. When does Kwanzaa run through?
There's some candles lit right now, I think.
Okay, but let me just say this: the people who celebrate Christmas, enjoy your time. Enjoy your time with your families. If you're away from your family, if you're alone this Christmas, throw on some green light. Let us keep you company. We love you. We appreciate you. Seriously, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to everybody. This is the time of year where you get back to your roots. Everything slows down a little bit. You spend time with the kids. You all watch the same games on TV, man. I hope that everybody can just remember we're all in this thing together. And a happy holidays to everybody. Hey, Cowboy Reed, can you pump us up on the way out?
Where's John Gruden?
Slap your helmet. Come here. Let me slap your helmet. Let me slap your helmet around a little bit. This is the full experience. Come on, big boy. Come on, big boy. Fuck him up this Christmas, big boy. Yeah.
Oh my God.
He wants to play football so bad.
Let's go, Reed.
I look pretty good.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, give me. All right, stance start.
Oh my God.
Stance is
a coach
great.
Would fucking
but give us a start. Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
There you go. Ready, set, hit.
Wow.
Y'all take care.
Pretty quick.
That was a good explosion.